No, because I.
Well, I did. It's on my.
Hey. They're not very good at that.
No.
All right. They used to process them in. Once in a while, somebody bring one that they ran over.
Yeah.
Most of the time when they bring them, they wouldn't even have them gutted out.
No, this one. Was I know when you're ready, Cheryl.
You're good to go.
Okay, can we all stand, please? Pledge of allegiance. Like
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. And I wanted to make one announcement. We had the old truck we had for sale. We had the paper for a minimum bid. It was 8,000 or something. And today was the day we're supposed to open bids. We didn't receive any bids, so we're gonna probably re-bid it with a lower price tag on it, but we didn't get any bids on it. So first thing I want to let the public know. Roll call, sure, we're all here. Approval of the agenda. I got a couple add-ons here. McCall Board appointment. And the Board of Canvassers have a legal question. They need to contact an attorney. And that's on there. There are only two I have on there. Does anyone have anything else?
And then under new business or old business.
I put them under new business.
Both of them?
Yep. With that, I'll take motions to accept the.
Are you talking about people out here now? That-
No, we're not talking about public comment right now.
Okay.
I make a motion that we accept the agenda with changes.
I'll support.
Okay, we got a motion. We have second. Is all in favor say yes?
Yes.
Yes, nays, motion carried. Approval of the minutes from October 17th, 2024.
I make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, we do have a motion. We do have a second. I guess take your pick there.
She can have it.
I heard Peltier, I think, I guess.
All right.
Or whoever might have been in the background, so. Yeah, Martins and Peltier.
Any questions, concerns on that? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Nays, motion carried. Claims and accounts, Gary.
Looking at our finance meeting, our claims came in at $71,054.24. Our EFTs come in at $614,737.76. Desk checks were $60,075.29 for a total of $745,867.29. And I make a motion that we accept the claims and accounts.
And I'll second that motion. Now, is there any questions, concerns on the amounts?
Well, I see we're talking about the Enterprise, the two new cars coming. Are we gonna talk about that here? Do we want to save it for the budget talk or?
You
Probably.
can go in the mechanic update.
Huh?
I can go up in the mechanic update. and give you a copy
Yeah,
of
let's
the
do it
fleet.
on the mechanic
Like
update.
what we're gonna swap?
Yep. Okay, do a roll call vote, please, Cheryl.
Sure. Bolster,
Yes.
Edwards.
Yes.
Gerard,
Yes.
Hardings, yes, Peltier.
Yes.
Motion carried. Public comment, agenda items only. Public comment limited to 3 minutes. So we don't have any public comments on the agenda items only at this time. Hearing none, we're moving on to new business, the child care fund for 2025 budget approval in Almont.
I don't see her here yet, so if you want to move on to the next one, we'll come back to her and see if she shows up.
Okay. Next, resolution Operation Green. I believe you got something in your packet on that. It's, veterans. We want to have it read, or can we just approve it?
I would make a motion to approve the resolution.
For, yeah, can you just briefly tell us what that's about?
I could read it out really quick if you want me to.
Okay, if you want to read it, that's fine.
Is whereas the residents of Montmorency County have great respect, admiration, and the utmost gratitude for all men and women who have selflessly served our county, our country, and this community in the armed forces. The contributions and sacrifices of those who served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedom and way of life enjoyed by our citizens. And Montmorency County seeks to honor individuals who have made countless sacrifices for freedom by placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all. And whereas veterans continue to serve our community in the American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars, religious groups, civil service, and by functioning as county veteran service officers in 29 states to help fellow former service members access more than $52 billion in federal health, disability, and compensation benefits each year. And whereas approximately 200,000 service members transition to civilian communities annually, and an estimated 20% increase of service members will transition to civilian life in the near future. And where studies indicate that 44 to 72% of service members experience high levels of stress during transition from military to civilian life, and active military service members transitioning from military service are at high risk for suicide during their first year after military service. Whereas the National Association of Counties encourages all counties, parishes, and boroughs to recognize Operation Greenlight for veterans, and Montmorency County appreciates the sacrifices of our United States military personnel and believes specific recognition should be granted. Therefore, be it resolved, with designation as a green light for Veterans County, Montmorency County hereby declares from October through Veterans Day, November 11th, 24, a time to salute and honor the service and sacrifices of our men and women in uniform transitioning from active service. Therefore, be it further resolved that in observance of Operation Greenlight, Montmorency County encourages citizens in patriotic tradition to recognize the importance of honoring all those who made immeasurable sacrifices to preserve freedom by displaying green lights in a window of their place of business or residence from November 4th through the 11th.
I'll make the motion, we approve that resolution.
Oh, we already have a motion.
We just need a roll
Do
call.
we have a second?
Yes, Del did.
We need a roll call.
Okay, do a roll call vote on that, please.
Edwards,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes,
Hardies,
Yes.
Pelletier,
Yes.
Bolser.
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you for reading that, April. Next item on there is a co-op board appointment.
Is this that's not behind us? Yes.
No.
Okay. No, okay.
Next item on there is a co-op board appointment. Can you read that there? Lloyd, do that.
You want me to read it?
Well, not read, just making make a
Motion?
motion to approve him if you want to.
Yeah, I'll
Put it
make
in
that
there.
motion.
It says unexpired, but we have to give it a time frame. So
Yeah,
expiring, put an expiry date in there. What do you think is appropriate? 3 years is normal.
yeah, I'll make the motion that we accept this.
Say his name, say his name, so everyone knows who we're
All
talking
right.
about.
James Anderson.
James Madison. Word.
James Madison, there you go, yes.
Well, do we end up with an expiration date on it then?
Yes, we're going for the expiration
3
date.
years.
2027.
So we're going with 2027.
2027, yes.
Do you get that, Cheryl? This is an appointment to the McCall board.
Yep, I just need a second.
Okay, and
I'll support.
roll call vote on that, please.
Jordan,
yes,
Hardies,
Yes.
Pelletier,
Yes.
Bolser, Edwards.
Yes. Motion carried. Next item on there, Board of Canvassers, we added this. We apparently have a legal question. And you want to explain that just, kind of told me or?
Sure, I can. Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Tom Williams, Chairman of the County Board of Canvassers. We have an issue that came up yesterday. We're in the process of canvassing the November 5th election. Election law requires us to complete our canvass by November 19th. So there is an urgency in this request. So the board has requested advice from an attorney on interpretation some aspects of the election law in order for us to complete our canvass.
Well, I'll make the motion. I think they need to get it answered.
Yeah, I'll
So,
support.
second,
I'll support.
second Mike,
Yeah.
and it's, if it passes, contact April, so give us our attorney's number to call.
We'll do that.
Okay, I'll do a roll call on that. What, you got a question?
Yeah, well, that leaves us, I don't understand, what the question is? What question did you have?
We have a process that we go through in the canvassing. And if certain legal issues come up, we are not able to determine the process without an interpretation and direction on the election law.
Okay, I gathered that. I just wondered what the question was, what?
We're in the process and we have an open meeting at the canvassing, and aspects outside of that I'm not at liberty to discuss. Our next meeting is tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
Thanks. Okay.
Anything else? No. Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote on that.
Hardee's?
Yes.
Pelletier?
Yes.
Bolser?
Yes.
Edwards?
Yes,
Jordan?
Yes.
motion carried. Okay, thank you. Next item on there is the mechanic position, on there. April, we had just an update, how many cars you worked on in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, with our last meeting, we went over that, and we have updated lists through Enterprise that there was 2 vehicles worked on for the month of October that are listed in the fleet. And Bernie's here if you want to ask him specific questions.
Bernie, you worked on just 2 vehicles in the last 2 weeks?
Yep. One of them was a water pump job, very large, internal engine is where they put that at, very large
Okay.
job.
So there's only 2 vehicles you worked on the last 2 weeks?
Yep.
Okay,
As far
I'm
as
not-
vehicles go, yes. There's, other duties I do as well, so, but 2 vehicles,
Yep,
yes.
okay. Everyone satisfied with that, or?
I wonder what's the point of that? Why? Why are we taking up what he did in the last 2 weeks?
Well, because it seemed kind of low for maintenance on 20 cars out there. And he just explained it. Took him quite a while to fix 1 car.
At the last board meeting, you guys had gave a game plan, you wanted to update the next meeting, that's why it's on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions, Dale?
Nope.
Are we going to address, do we want to
You
address?
can do the vehicles now if you'd like.
Well, we might as well, because we've got those 2 enterprise.
All right.
You said we can talk about that.
Yeah, we talked about we got 2 vehicles coming in, is my
They're
understanding.
actually coming today. I got a call. They called myself, and they're gonna be delivering the 2 new lease vehicles for the, sometime to this morning.
Okay, and these are deputy fitted, or these are patrol car fitted vehicles. Okay, so the question was, because we had a discussion on this, what we're going to replace these with. And we need it to be consistent with the agreement we had with Enterprise. Correct, we need to exchange out like vehicles.
Yeah, we ordered 2 of the Explorers, so we replaced 2 Explorers, which would be.
All right, and we've had discussion about replacing things that, are not right now currently in the fleet, and that's not appropriate for what we had said we were gonna do with Enterprise. In fact, I'd like to make a motion, to have the following 20 vehicles in the county's fleet inventory. 3 county vehicles, 1 building department lease, 1 equalization lease, 1 veterans owned. That gives the sheriff assignment cars 17, 15 road patrol vehicles, The sheriff's is owned, the undersheriff's is owned, 13 deputies, 2 leased vehicles out of that 2 deputy roster, and 11 owned. And then they have the 2 seasonal ones, the ORV that are owned, the Marine that is owned, and that we will remove from the fleet, the Crown Vic and the 2 civilian sedans.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Do you have that in writing? Because it's longer than I can do a motion for, so hopefully you have that in writing.
So that gives a total, how many vehicles does that give the sheriff?
17.
That total,
Yes, it'd be the 15 road patrol and the 2 seasonal.
17 road patrol. and
No, 15 road patrol and the 2 seasonal, which,
So-
yeah, could be used by it
So,
as well.
so you only 15 patrol cars. That counts the sheriff and undersheriff's
Yes,
vehicle.
yes. Because right now we have allotted the 13 deputies, and that's where there'd be 2 leased out of that pool. That's what we had discussed before, and the 11 owned. So that's where we would use the enterprise to replace 2 currently on the road deputy vehicles.
Okay, so it gets a total of forget the ORV and the Marine one.
15 total then.
Forget those. So 15 total cars, and it's got 13 deputies plus him, the sheriff, so they don't have any extras.
Had to remove those others.
Sheriff? Go ahead.
I'm
on to it.
So at the FPS meeting, we had a very brief
I
conversation.
have no second to the motion, first of
Oh,
all.
there
I believe
But Can we just
You
back up?
do
a
have a
minute?
second. I seconded it.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
sorry, I didn't hear that. I'm
Okay.
trying to type at the same time as she's, I can't, yeah, can't type like that, sorry.
At the FPS meeting, we had this discussion about what vehicles were going to be replaced. And it's really not, I don't want to say it's not a discussion, but one of the vehicles that is to be replaced is the 2013 Forest, which has the flexi frame. We already had previously talked about that. That's a retired vehicle that's already phasing out. The other vehicle that's being retired is the vehicle that was involved in the crash. That vehicle is being retired out. At no point in time is it even an option to rotate out a service vehicle, a vehicle that is in operation. That makes absolutely zero sense. And to what the controller said is, these are our vehicles, we're selling them, they're not even going to enterprise. So this has nothing to do with enterprise per se, no different than the county vehicle that you folks are getting rid of that are selling outright. This conversation, I mean, again, this almost sounds like this would be a sheriff committee conversation, so we could talk through it. If there's questions, concerns, and comments, we can work through this conversation prior to this point, but what vehicles are gonna replace is kind of it's done. I mean, there's 2 vehicles that are unpatrollable. They have to be retired. What
Well, we
vehicles
retired
are,
the one
what, excuse me, what vehicles are getting retired is already done. It's been known for 6 months what vehicles are gonna be retired, because one has a bad frame, the other was involved in a crash. Why would you get rid of a vehicle that is able to be driven on the road and utilized in patrol? That makes absolutely zero sense. As we move through whatever process we end up deciding, or the next board decides, then we look at the next stage of the next retired vehicle. But this, to retire anything else, I don't want to say isn't an option, but it really truly isn't an option. And yeah, as far as models, if we sign an agreement that says like models, that makes absolutely zero sense. So God forbid, I mean, and I'm just thinking, for example, Alpena County. Alpena County literally transitioned their entire fleet and went to different vehicles. That would be like saying you weren't allowed to buy a Chevy because you had a Ford or something. I mean, they're patrol vehicles. They're law enforcement patrol vehicles, whether it's a Taurus or an Explorer. It says utility patrol vehicle or sedan patrol vehicle, period.
Does that preclude us from getting like Chevys or anything else?
No, it's a matter of just going with, if we're going with a police labeled vehicle.
Police type
Yeah,
vehicle.
and the 13 Ford Taurus that they're talking about switching out is listed in our MRMA as a civilian sedan, not as a police enforcement vehicle.
Well, and
And that's the one,
That's the point.
that's the one that I asked to be.
okay, and obviously that's somewhere, I don't know where that happened. Obviously, that's not an us thing.
Car 99.
Car 99 is the civilian unmarked. That's utilized for training and other things. Sure, but that was when you were there, that was picked up. That isn't the vehicle we're talking about. And I know April brought that up at the FPS meeting. I don't know where those lines got crossed or how it got recorded to remember that way. That I can't answer. but that isn't the vehicle we're getting rid of. We are getting rid of 2 patrol vehicles and receiving 2 patrol vehicles.
Okay, I think question was, it was to give, first of there being no backups that way. You realize that we have no backup cars. They could obviously, day people give the night car, night, they could be some switches out there, so they could do that. But on that, but I think that's right. We had 15 cars, including the sheriff and undersheriff.
Mr. Chairman,
And how
I
many?
have a question.
Okay.
Is the car that needed the water pump, is it back on the road?
Yes.
Thank you. That's my question.
So, okay, and Commissioner Hardy's, like, when we were at, I guess that this is where communication, I guess, is where I get frustrated. We're discussing for the very first time what your idea of a patrol vehicle rotation is right now. Right now is when we're having this discussion. And this would be a very fantastic conversation to have with you in 3D, one-on-one, or with a committee. And I'm 100% on that, because I think the more we each know, respect each other's position on whatever we're trying to achieve, it would make the most. But to start this conversation now, I don't even understand what your motion is, man. It makes no sense to me. This board decided to lease 2 vehicles. Not my choice, your choice. We're going along with this process. We'll look at it, see if it works. But to then dictate what 2 vehicles we're getting rid of, again, I've said it before, but it's the sheriff's office we're talking about. Let me run the sheriff's office. Let me work with our team that utilize these pieces of equipment to serve our public. That's all I'm asking. And I absolutely would love to sit down and have you come down and we can walk the fleet together so that we're all on the same page on what we're looking at.
Well, we've discussed the fleet several times over the last 5 months here. We've just.
Yeah, and we started the fleet program in May, and since May, I've asked to have a meeting with both Bernie, Brian, and Chad, and the commissioners, so we could go over the whole fleet, so we could get a detailed list and go through it and figure out what ones we're gonna do. And yet to get that, I've asked a bunch of times, and we haven't sat down and had that conversation. That's the problem, yeah, communication.
Well, how many
Yeah,
active deputies do we have currently on the road?
You have, well, that's another fun discussion because everything's always in transition. We currently have, as of this week, we have 12 plus the undersheriff and I. We have 1 that is hopefully coming. However, we're losing another 1. We're going to be 3 positions short at the end of next week.
And you got, right now, the budget was 14 officers, right?
14 officers. Yeah.
Okay.
So as to the meeting, I don't know at what meeting we haven't attended or were invited to and it wasn't facilitated. We're in front of you folks every 2 weeks. I'm in front of you every 2 weeks. You know full well, Sheriff, as far as getting your fleet down to a finite amount allows for 0 contingency, whether that's the brand new vehicles that are being recalled that the engine blowed up in, or a crash, or a car deer, or a whatever that contingency. We obviously, as you know, this occupation has the contingency plan, and expecting everything to go right all the time, we will fail.
The question is, is that sufficient to do your job? That's a board question. It's not your question.
Well,
Your idea of what you should do and the board's gonna be a little different.
absolutely, and that's, I completely understand that. We've been dealing with that, right? And the conversation I have no issue with. Right now, this conversation finitely is about what 2 vehicles we're retiring. I mean, let's remember that. It's, to me, that's not, that discussion is super simple. It's a car that's crashed, and it's a car that has a flexing frame, period. That's the 2 vehicles, because they're unserviced vehicles. To take a serviceable vehicle out of the fleet literally makes it, I'm sorry, but it does not make sense.
Well, the car that crashed, we discussed already,
It's gone off the
It's
list. We
gone
still
off
have
the list,
13
yeah.
other vehicles
because
listed.
we did that when we took it off the insurance, I thought, when it was totaled.
We've already
Yes.
received the reimbursement.
June or
from-
July or whatever that was. Yeah,
Okay,
we did
what
discuss that one, so
listen,
that
we're
was already
talking about?
gone.
We're talking about Vermont. right?
Yep.
Is that the list we're talking about?
Yep, there's
Okay, so let's,
13 deputy vehicles listed in the MRMA policy, plus the sheriff and under sheriff's car. So it's 15 total that are listed as police cars. And the one that was crashed and salvaged already has already been removed. So there's still 15.
okay,
And that's why we want one of those 15 to be replaced with police to get rid of those high mileage to cut on costs, which was the point of the program. That's the point of the program, is to replace a Ford Police Interceptor utility with another one.
and again, what you are planning is a vacuum situation. I mean, I guess I'll reach out to Mervin and try and understand what one vehicle on the fleet insurance, what kind of impact that would do.
That's
to our
a
overall
financial question
contingency.
for the board, Sheriff. That's
Yeah,
not
no,
your.
but sir, you're talking about the operations of my office.
Yeah, well,
So as much as we're talking about the finances each way, I have to advocate for the operations of the officer.
So a road patrol vehicle costs $531.40 per vehicle, and a sedan for like the building department is on, or a vehicle for the building department is only $330 per vehicle. And then if it's a billing listed car, it's 300, like the Crown Vic is listed at $399 per vehicle. So
I
a
assume
road
that's
patrol
annual.
is more.
Right, I assume that's an annual.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so what we're talking about is the idea of having a contingency vehicle for $500 annually. That's what we're disagreeing about, is $500. So that you can let me speak to the mechanic, he's here.
But if you have 14,
With all due respect,
15 cars plus the seasonals, then, and you only have 11 deputies that are gonna be working, you have contingency vehicles.
and if I can plan, and God willing, maybe since Alpena's millage didn't pass, I'm able to pick up 2 officers from Alpena County. Maybe we're back to full staff in the next 3 months.
Well, it could be, Sheriff. I'm gonna, I think for reasonable, I think that motion, we're gonna call for a vote on that. And right now you got the marine vehicle that you can use all winter. That could be your service vehicle, and you could talk to the board later in the year about have a meeting on it.
So can you explain to me then, Mr. Chairman, why are we doing this for $500? This is why we're making
Well, I
this
think it's a
decision?
little more than $500. I think the meetings could have took place. I think there was some
I agree.
resistance on having those meetings, but make a long story short, we're gonna, it's on the board and I'm gonna call for a vote.
Can I ask,
Dell, had a
can
question?
I ask what was your motion?
The motion was that out of the 20 vehicles, to have to have the following 20 vehicles in the county's fleet inventory. So we have the 3 that we already know that we're using. The 2 that we've just recently leased from Enterprise would be the building department and the equalization department. Those were discussions we had with Enterprise, right? We said we'd do it. The veterans have an owned vehicle, and those are county assignments. And to remove the vehicles that are currently unserviced, not high miles, need to get rid of, would be the Crown Vic and the 2 civilian sedans. So that keeps us with the 15 road patrol vehicles, which is owned. The sheriff's car is owned, the undersheriff's is owned. And then to put into the deputies rotation, which we said we would do with Enterprise, put in 2 of their leased vehicles. That's what's coming this week or today is these vehicles. So they need to get put in and switch out old ones that are currently being utilized for that purpose. Get them out, put those 2 leased in. That's what it's about. The other ones are the grant owned, the ORV and the Marine,
Any other
that are
questions?
still outfitted,
No?
that can be used as backup because they are outfitted.
You guys were questions. That was my question to you.
No.
Okay. Bernie, you wanna?
Vehicle for Marine is not a patrollable vehicle, it is not equipped
Well,
properly.
that was my question. That'd be a service vehicle, period.
That's-
I understand
that's
that.
it. It is not a patrol vehicle.
I know that. That's a service vehicle that you 9 months out of the year it's not used because you don't have marine. So it's basically parked, so it could be a service vehicle. Okay?
Okay,
All right.
yes, if that's it. Now, you're also taking the Crown Vic out. That's the vehicle in which I drive. What am I gonna drive after that? Do I gotta go up and try to find one in the parking lot to take to town to get parts or? Go to LP or Gaylord to turn in water samples.
Do we have a spare vehicle? As far as, if you get in an accident, one of the,
We have one right now.
there's one extra vehicle.
Yes, and that's this whole conversation.
Right
is-
now,
is
Chair.
Operations, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, you are making decisions blindly.
No, I don't. I spent 40
Yes.
years there, Chad. Don't
Yeah,
give me
you
that
know what? No,
blind-
yeah, but you haven't been there for well over 8, Your Honor, sir.
Well, I understand
Okay,
the
so
operation.
I'm still trying to identify what vehicles Commissioner Hardee's is talking about retiring. Because
You can retire that's out of your control. That's
That's-
perfectly within
the-
your purview to remove whatever.
the
to lease.
fleet of the
that you
sheriff's
wanna
office
replace
is
with the
out of
two.
my control.
No,
You're gonna
that's not
dictate-
what
you're
I
gonna
said.
dictate what vehicles I'm retiring?
No, listen. They're leased we want 2 leased vehicles
Yeah,
to be rotated into the deputy vehicles that are there. You can decide where they go.
yeah.
That,
Oh, that's exactly
Nobody
what we're
said that.
doing, but you are dictating to me.
you're
what
telling me
vehicles.
that you're letting somebody use the vehicle that's flexed and that's been.
No,
Or- okay,
those are the vehicles we're
that's what
retiring.
We're asking to retire, exactly.
Commissioner
That's what
Hardy,
we said.
you're telling me to retire vehicles outside. I'm telling you, these 2 vehicles need to be retired. You're telling me, no, these vehicles are being retired. You are dictating my fleet. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I am telling you, there are 2 vehicles that are ready to be shipped down the road. It's done. They're gone. I am ready to receive these 2 vehicles and put them into the fleet for the officers. I don't even understand what we're arguing about. Now, what you're telling me is you're going to tell me what vehicles I have to get rid of. That makes 0 sense. We already have the 2 vehicles. They're unserviceable.
You have a roster of 17, you can pick the 2.
We did. That's exactly what I presented at FPS, ma'am.
So what is which VIN numbers are we looking at that?
VIN number,
So then
what-
what are we, so then what's the difference? That's what we're saying here.
The 2 that he's saying are being retired are on the roster as our deputy vehicle.
Oh, they're already gone.
The issue is you're
Okay,
dealing with.
so
a
then
different-
Just understand, just let the sheriff talk. I was gonna get too confused.
So these are technically not on this roster.
Mhm. The 2013 Ford is on the bottom of that roster from Murmah. And it's listed as civilian with Murmah,
Right,
because it was being used as a spare,
okay, no.
from what all of those things, and there's been no like gas reportage or anything on that.
That's the one at
Because-
213,000 miles or something.
So there would still be 15 vehicles, if you get rid of the 2 seasonal, 15 vehicles for deputy and sheriff, under sheriff usage, and we're just asking to replace 2 of those deputy vehicles to be matched with the same type of lease that we're getting. So we're getting the Explorer, so we wanted to switch it with the same thing. Because the point of us was to try to reduce our cost of our fleet inventory by going to these leased ones and getting rid of the older vehicles
Correct,
and reducing our fleet size that way.
right.
Reduce our fleet size. Fine. That's
Yeah,
another
I
discussion.
just-
Yeah.
just-
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, you
Just a
are
minute,
making.
just a minute. I think we're gonna hold this off for 2 weeks, so there'll be a meeting between you, April, and can you sit in on that? Yeah. Just to decide, get this clarified, because back and forth stuff, I'm getting a little confused myself.
We
Okay,
need to take a vote. We have a motion and a second.
Okay, unless you want to rescind your motion at this time.
Oh, we can call for a vote.
Okay,
Do whatever
all
we
right.
need to do.
Guess we call for a vote. I think there's a little confusing as far as what the mechanic said. And right now, even if we go to that, we're 3 people down. So there's 3 cars gonna be sitting out there
Right.
anyway.
they're available.
So, even if we go to this, now he's got extra vehicles. Now, he may not have extra vehicles in the coming months, which can be looked at that time. We don't know if he's gonna get anyone.
Right.
So
That's what it does.
I think for now, you restate your motion one more time.
The motion is to have the following 20 vehicles in the county's fleet inventory. The 3 personnel vehicles for county assignment, that's the building department, which is leased. The equalization departments, that is leased. The veterans department, that is owned. The sheriff's assignment, or the 17 cars, would be 15 road patrol vehicles, 1 for the sheriff, 1 for the undersheriff, 13 deputy, and we want that to be comprised of 2 leased and 11 owned.
And how many officers you got now, Sheriff? Not counting the guy that might come on. You got 11?
Currently, we have 12, sir.
We have 12 down.
However, in 1 week, we will be down to 11. And I again, before you guys do whatever you're doing, I am still trying to identify what vehicles the commissioner is speaking of that she wants to see come off of a roster, because we're talking about two very different things. And the fact that what was reported to Myrma by the controller's office doesn't match the fleet information, I am not in control of that. But the civilian vehicle is utilized to this day. So Mr. Chairman, personally, I think your idea is fantastic. Can we please make sure we're all on the same page on what we're talking about? Apples to apples. If we're gonna disagree at the end of at least having correct understanding, fine, then we disagree on that. But this, I have no idea what two vehicles. And Commissioner Hardee's, I can show you, like, on our fleet list, the two vehicles I'm speaking of, they're literally in red. And what I'm understanding is the only reason you want to remove a vehicle from outside of what is a crashed vehicle and a vehicle that has an unsafe for patrol service is because of essentially $500 on the Myrma policy. That's what I don't understand why we're reducing.
That one
the
has
fleet
already
to a
gone.
point.
That one has already been removed. The one that was crashed has already been removed.
Exactly.
So it's not on here.
It's, but I don't,
I don't
not
know.
to, I don't
Okay,
care that
I'm
it's
gonna
not
cut this
on the
conversation off.
insurance.
We're not getting anywhere. We're not getting anywhere. Like I said, we'll be in good shape. Now, however, if he gets to full strength, it might be an issue.
Mhm.
But right now, this will take effect first of the year, correct?
Well, it probably should take this week because they're coming this week. We're getting two more vehicles. So we're gonna have two more vehicles. Is it tomorrow? Friday? Today and Thursday.
Yeah.
What vehicles are you trying?
I'm not gonna give you the bid number.
He's trying-
Well, why
You're
not?
able-
Ma'am,
you're able
I
to
don't
do
know
that.
what vehicles you're even talking about me getting rid of. I have no idea. Do you know? Do you know what vehicles you're requesting me to get rid of?
I think the conflict comes here, Sheriff, is that the couple that she's already removed, you want to be inclusive in your fleet, so you can just get rid of those two and keep more vehicles. She's trying to reduce the number of vehicles on what's needed, is what she's trying to do.
Why?
What's needed?
There's
I'm not gonna argue,
that's what
Sheriff.
I'm,
I'm not gonna argue,
Mr.
yeah.
Chairman, it's not an argument, it's a discussion. I'm not arguing with you. I am trying to understand why and where you're trying to go and what I'm trying to accomplish. You have the mechanic here. If you think I'm out of bounds, you have the undersheriff here who managed the fleet just as he does for me as he did for you. I am not speaking out of line here. I'm not out, why are we retiring a vehicle? There is zero.
I think we're trying to get it down to what's actually needed, Sheriff, in our needed.
What do you think? I beg of you, drive past our office right now. Tell me how many vehicles you see sitting in the parking lot right now. See how many spare vehicles are sitting in the parking
Well,
lot.
how many, you tell me, I haven't been out there today.
One.
And who's all got them all then? They're all deputies, just deputies.
Well, yes.
You don't have any service vehicles for anybody else or anything that's being driven?
I don't understand your question.
Okay, so all the cars are gone with deputies in them.
Yes,
So what's left in the parking lot to be used for a,
there's one
Backup.
fleet vehicle,
huh?
one fleet vehicle for crashes, whatever, the contingency, whatever that might be.
Where's your service vehicles then? Don't you have a couple of those?
The F-150 is attached to the side-by-side and the marine vehicle is attached to the boat.
Okay, well,
So
so
those are the two grant.
there's
vehicles.
no service vehicles out there.
I don't know what you mean by service, Don.
Well,
Oh,
they're not patrol vehicles.
the one marked Taurus, if that's what you're.
There,
Okay,
okay.
yeah,
right.
that's still there. That's still
Okay.
there, yep. But as far as patrol vehicles, it's just the one.
I think the vehicles that need to be identified by VIN number should be identified by the sheriff's department, the controller, Commissioner Hardee's and myself at the meeting we're gonna have here shortly. They don't need to be identified right now.
Well, we haven't got rid of anything right now that can be readjusted. I'm gonna allow the vote on that for now. You can sit down after the fact, Sheriff. I think,
Because what's gonna happen to the two that are coming in today? Who are they gonna be assigned to?
But there's confusion out there between, they want to consider all the vehicles they had. And so the ones that are no longer crash vehicle, the other ones, so that's what take it out.
And just real quick, I'm not just, Commissioner Hardee's, just so you're aware, like, and Bernie can attest this, getting two new vehicles, I mean, it's gonna take 3 months, few months to get those vehicles set up. So those, even receiving them today, it's not like they're turning burns. I mean, they have the package they have on them, the lighting package they have on them, but all the radios got to get put in, the center consoles, the dividers, whatever lights that didn't come with it have to get put on. So the camera system, there's that whole process on the back end, and that obviously takes some time. So truly, we're not going to see those vehicles hit the road till probably, I would reckon, the beginning of the year, knock on wood. It's just so you're aware, like timelines from when we're seeing to when we hit the road.
It sounds to me like what the upshot is, where the sheriff is counting the two vehicles that are not serviceable. And what the board members want to do is not include those and reduce the fleet by, what, 2 more vehicles? So your fleet would be reduced by 2 vehicles. That's what it sounds like to me is. And to me, we need to have more discussion before we decide that at this point in time.
The current personnel and stuff, we do have a motion on the floor, and there's gonna be some discussions going down the road. And I think they can work something out. So those discussions will maybe come back and keep 1 or 2 more, but right now, let's call for a vote and get it done, move on. Roll call vote on that.
Pelletier,
Yes.
Holzer,
No,
Edwards,
Yes.
Bird,
No,
Hardee's.
Yes.
Motion carried. Like I said, you can discuss that, maybe able to keep more, but this won't take effect at least for 3 more months, or whatever. And we can have discussions in the meantime if more are needed through whatever group sets with the sheriff. Okay, next item on there is material management. Planning committee.
hang on one second. Janelle, got stuck in Alpena and she was gonna try to get on Zoom and she just told me she might be able to get on, but I don't think I see her yet.
So we can take
Oh,
her
yeah,
off.
she's here, she's here.
Oh, she's online.
So we can jump up and take care. Let me unmute her real quick. Oops, wrong person. Moved on.
See it in there, did you, there, Jerry?
I had one in there.
Good morning.
Good
Yeah.
morning.
I'm so very sorry. I had a bunch of technical issues out here, and I'm still not up and running, but I'm trying. You should have in front of you the memorandum as well as the attachments for our fiscal year 2025 child care fund budget. The memorandum is pretty clear. Request is similar to last year's. There is an increase, but that was due to some massive changes at the state level that also included an increase in reimbursement. So our bottom line should probably go down for next year, even though the overall request has gone up. And historically, we've been making those $3,000 a month payments to the state for that existing balance. And we have zeroed that out. Time of the memo, we still had 8,500, but we now have a zero balance with the state. So we can, I did relay that information to April, but we can stop the $3,000 monthly payments to the state. We are finally even Steven, which is good news.
Yeah, we stopped those in September, so we should be good.
Oh, yes, perfect. Thank you, April.
You're welcome. She needs a motion to approve the budget.
I'll make the
For the
motion. to
child
approve
care
budget from the
I'll
year.
second that.
Any questions in this lot, Mott? If there's no question, we'll call for a roll call, please.
Olson,
Yes.
Edwards.
Yes,
Gerardin.
Yes.
Hardys.
Yes.
Pelletier.
Yes,
motion carried. You got it?
Thank you very much. I'll bring the form out for a signature, Chairman, and I should be all set.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very
No.
much.
Planning committee, final approval.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, sorry. You have a memo in your packet that came from the planning group. So we have our interlocal agreement with the 5 counties, and Lloyd is on that committee with the board, the counties. And then we submitted people who were interested in becoming part of that planning committee that the regional materials management plan needs. They reviewed all of those options and they came back with a listing of who they selected, NEMCOG and the RRS. So I need a motion to approve this final recommendation from NEMCOG. And I can read them off really quick if you want. I'll read the memo. The interlocal agreement that was fully executed on June 25th, 2024 specifies that the final step in seating and materials management planning committee is for each member county's board to review and vote majority on the final listing as recommended by NEMCOG board within 45 days. At its October 11th meeting, the NEMCOG board reviewed and made recommendations for the final materials management planning committee that your boards put forth for consideration. We request that your board review and vote to approve the following organizations to represent the 5 county region for development of a materials management plan. For the position of solid waste disposal facility operator, it'll be the MOA Solid Waste Management Authority, landfill. For the position of representative of a hauler of managed material, it is the GFL representative, and GFL will appoint a specific person. For the position of representative of materials recovery facility, it will be the Northeast Michigan Materials Management Authority representative, and that chair will appoint a specific person. For the position of composting facility or anaerobic digester operator is the city of Alpena, and the city will appoint a specific person. For the position of waste diversion, reuse, or reduction facility operators, it's the Northeast Michigan Habitat for Humanity, and the president will appoint a specific person. For the position of representative of an environmental interest group that has members residing in the planning area, it'll be Huron Pines RC&D, and the chair will appoint a specific person. For the position of elected official of a county is Cheryl Nielsen, clerk for Montmorency County. For the position of elected official of a township, it is Susan Avery of Big Creek Township for Oscoda County. For the position of elected official of a city or village, it is the city of Harrisville, council president or mayor to appoint a specific elected official. For the position of representative of a business that generates a managed material, it will be Omni Industries, and the CEO will appoint a specific person. And for the position of a representative of the regional planning agency whose territory includes the planning area is NEMCOG, and the chair will appoint a specific person. For your additional information, but not necessary to include in the vote, county appointees that basically are automatic appointments that each county got to make. It'll be Bill Peterson, County Commissioner for Alpena County, Terry Small, County Commissioner for Alcona County, Terry Dutcher, County Commissioner for Iosco County, with all rights and privileges granted to Jamie Sobleski, the County Controller, Michelle Hamlin, the County Commissioner for Montmorency County, and Jackie Bondar, County Commissioner for Oscoda County, with all rights and privileges granted to Michelle Nutt, the County Administrator. Business appointees automatic appointment include Cooper Standard Industries for Oscoda County, PNL Development, David Langley for Iosco County, and then there was no businesses that were appointed from Alpena, Montmorency, or Alcona County at this time. So I need a motion to make final approval of this and then
make
send
a
it over.
motion, we approve this.
Export.
We have a motion, we have a second, any more discussion on it? That's contract type thing, do a roll call.
What are we actually calling this?
It's the Materials Management Planning Committee.
Okay, okay.
Do you want a copy? Do you want a copy of the memo?
I do have, I have a
Okay,
copy,
I
but
thought you had
it's
one.
not really like understanding more what exactly, okay, so, I'm sorry, it was the
Materials Management Planning Committee.
committee, okay. Planning committee.
April,
Yeah.
can I get a copy of that too?
Yes.
Thank you.
Edwards,
Yes.
Gerard,
Yes.
Hardis,
Yes.
Peltier,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Emergency manager position options.
Okay, so we had a conversation about the emergency manager, and we were looking at seeing what we could get for proposals from Alpena County to do a combined effort with them. Also with Presque Isle County, we talked about, they had came to us and asked, Sarah was actually just here, but she's on her way to the emergency manager meeting. For Presque Isle County, if they would be willing to work with us on anything. And then also Doug Baum had came and talked to me and was talking about the Albert Township Fire Department be contracted as the emergency management for the county as well. And they would assign their chief to do that job. Okay, so yeah, so I'll start with the contract with Doug, the proposal he gave us. The only way the Albert Township Fire Department could propose to perform the EM duties for the county would be to have one of our full-time positions perform this work. With that, I asked Laura at the township to look at what our costs are for Glenn's position and what it would look like to split this position 50% to 50%. Our costs all in on his position is about $100,000 per year, including benefits and overtime. As you may remember, they have built in overtime each week. So if I take that $50,000 per based on 50% and pull back the overtime and associated savings on retirement taxes, et cetera, I'm at about $40,000. Using your budget as a guide and also including building and travel, that would include another $5,000 per year. We have a vehicle already this person can use. So I know this is probably way over the budget. Albert Township Fire Department would propose to Montmorency County to provide emergency management services for 1 year for the cost of $45,000 per year. Glenn lives at Garland, so he's close in the case of an incident which requires an emergency management activation. And then he's happy to discuss this proposal further after the board meeting. And he can do a formal proposal if you'd like, but this was just through email. Presque Isle County, I talked to Sarah, and she is already working 30 to 35 hours per week with full benefits in Presque Isle County. And it looks like if you were to combine, I think how much time would be associated to both counties, you know, she's already putting in a pretty full schedule over there. But right now, their board over in Presque Isle County wants to kind of hold off. So the commissioners and clerk wish to hold off meeting to discuss in detail until after the election. So that then they'll schedule a personal meeting and kind of give us a better idea of a proposal. But when her and I went through the budget figures, she was looking at, you know, somewhere between $91,000 to $92,000 for that position full-time. And so our share would be about $45,000 to $46,000 if we were to go that route. She's already in the position. She's already certified. She's attending the meetings. We could duplicate a lot of that. So, you know, there's a plus side to that. And then for Alpena County, I worked with the administrator, Jesse, over there. And he sent over, we talked over our benefits, and I gave him the cost for our benefits for a full-time person, and he gave me the cost for a full-time person in his county. And our benefits are a little bit cheaper, but a better package. And so his are, you know, the cost is a little higher. But if they were to hire somebody on full-time in Alpena, what we would do is just basically pay them a contracted price, 50% of their salary to Alpena County. And then any like expenditures for the program, we would split 50-50. And we were proposing hopefully to do $25 an hour for an annual salary of $52,000. Jess said he believes it's still low, but perhaps the right candidate would accept it as a starting point and grow the program to grow their compensation. At $25 per hour, the cost is, depending on healthcare, $7,305 more for each county compared to the 20.60 hour proposal that we had originally with our salary person. We were going to look into options of using some of our opioid remediation funds. If we could possibly use that, we might be able to use 15% of those funds to help pay for this position. So that could give us some savings if we can. So for our budget, I did just put in potentially $45,000 contract price for this position, depending on which route we go, because it seems like that kind of seems to be the number that we're hitting on all these. And the question is, do you want to go as a contracted with the fire department? Which, when I talked to Lieutenant DeCastro, he was a little concerned about that because he thinks that there's only one other county that does that, Crawford. They did contract with Frederick, but when there's a fire, that kind of takes precedence over the emergency management job. So that was his only concern with that.
Excuse me, is he certified?
No,
Eccleston?
no,
He's not
we'd have to get all the emergency management certifications. With Sarah, she's already certified and has everything, but she is working already 30 some hours in Presqu'île, and I'm not quite sure how Presqu'île is going to want to divvy that up yet, so that's still kind of in the air. And then with Alpena County, we would be basically putting together a committee with Lieutenant DeCastro, and we would be able to hire a full-time person with the input of both counties to service both of our counties. And we could go over a full budget together with the counties together. Kim Elke, who is the current EM, she's going to be going straight to 911, but she would be there to help whoever we hire full-time as a backup since she's been doing it for so long. So those are really the three options. Well, we have a fourth option is we just go status quo and we say we're going to do a part-time salary still and hire again, but we just haven't had the most success with that because it's becoming more work than it used to be. So we just kind of need to figure out what route we want to go. So that if we're going to, we can pick a committee and move forward.
If you said how much Alpena it would be to partner with Alpena was, I guess I missed.
Yeah, me too. That was gonna be my question.
$25.
So off a bunch of figures, but I don't know if it actually came down to a number.
So looking at their budget, it's about $45,000 as well.
So everybody's in about the same
Mhm.
ballpark.
Yep.
Well, Kim was going to train them too, correct?
Yeah.
She had agreed to.
We would have to hire somebody and we'd have to get them certified, but she would be there to train them. And then Presqu'île County, we have somebody who's already certified, but we still have to figure out the details with Presqu'île County if we were to go that route.
Well, that's a lot of hours that she's doing already.
Mhm.
Wow. How is she gonna add another part-time here?
You talking about Pascal?
Yeah.
If we remain the status quo, we'd still have to pay for training and all of that.
Yes, but a lot of the trainings can be reimbursed from the state. We did lose funding with the grant because they're reducing that by 10%. And it's been being reduced every year pretty much. But it's going to be reduced again. But when talking to Lieutenant DeCastro, they are hopeful it'll go up, not this year, but the following year. So that could come back for us. But there are reimbursements to the state for like training and travel and different meetings and stuff that we can get money back. So less out of pocket. So the $45,000 is more like the worst case scenario with Alpena County, because you're kind of looking at like 30 some $1,000s for the salary part of it. Mostly it would be like more like just under $30,000 for the salary and benefits part of it to share with Alpena County. And then the rest of the money is to help with other budget items that we might have to do, like any kind of programs we have to set up or, communications and paying for any kind of travel that won't be reimbursed. So that 45,000 is like your budget hit that we would only share if those expenses occurred.
And if we partnered with Albert, are there grants available to help pay for that training as well?
It would be the same, it's the same situation. If we partner with Albert, they would get reimbursements for some of the trainings through MSP. And then we also get that, it's down to $5,000 for the EMPG program now. So it used to be upwards of 8 to 9 and it's dropped now down to $5,000. It keeps decreasing. So we do get reimbursed about $5,000 from the government for this program.
And he's full-time with the fire department now.
Yes.
He's a paramedic also.
Okay, so he's got quite a bit on his plate right now. I don't know how he could take on another job like that. Don't make sense. I mean, the same thing running with Presqu'île, that they don't, how could she do that? Or whoever.
He was going to do it there while because when they're on call there, I shouldn't say on call, when they are working, they're at the station 24 hours. And well, I should say 12 or 24 hours. So they're already at the station and you may go a whole day with no runs or whatever. So that's when he could do a lot of the work, is when he's at the station already and could be working on all that stuff then.
But if so if something, so, but if he got called out on that position, then EM would not be covered. Is that what I'm hearing?
And Doug wanted to talk to the board about it, but he's in a conference in Tennessee right now. So he said he can come to the next meeting on the 20th and talk to you guys if you want to. And he can explain it better.
And when is Alpina's meeting?
And they were actually meeting today as well. I think they said they had to have their budget finalized today. So when talking to Jesse, like, we're both planning for a position in our budgets. And we'll have to work out the details on how that works, but it's, you know, if either they're gonna have to hire somebody full-time themselves, or we'll work together.
And the same with Presqu'île. They haven't.
Yeah, it's not gonna affect their budget necessarily. They could get reimbursed some money, basically. Because obviously she can't go over 40 hours. So, you know, we're just gonna start splitting that salary, and she was already given 30 hours to that county.
Yeah, we haven't been able to get our job done with a part-time person
Yeah.
as it is. So that concerns me, especially in an out-county situation.
And when talking with Lieutenant DeCastro, he says a multi-county EM, he supports more than going contractual with a fire department. And just because he's seen issues with Crawford and Frederick, like the combination, he says it wasn't his suggestion. It sounds like they might not even be doing that anymore. They're going away from that.
Comment in the back.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I talked to Lieutenant Castro on Tuesday as well. And he said he'd be more than willing to come and talk to you folks. Reference the EM position and about where we want to go, or how we want to assign those responsibilities. When I was discussing with him about like the Crawford area, one of the issues which made complete sense, but one of the issues they ran into, they had chief be the EM. And that definitely is kind of conflict of duty when you're doing unified command. It'd be like me being the EM. It just, there's not enough separation there, because we would have to be at IC, we would have to be unified. In the Albert situation, I believe Glenn, I think he's a captain, or
Yes.
right?
He's
So
captain.
again, there's enough supervision above where, you know, he might be able to do it. I guess I think Commissioner Bolzer talked about giving it a couple weeks to possibly let Albert come in. Lieutenant DeCastro said he'd be more than willing to come and talk with the board, just so everybody, I mean, the EM position is kind of like the unicorn. Nobody really knows what it is and how important it is. It going out of county, I obviously have some concerns with. When you have events within the county, it's important that you have your EM available, involved. Generally speaking, if they're doing it right, you have to have incident action plans for the fair, for Timberfest, for Elk Fest. You should be doing all these pre-planning events, so that in the event that there's a weather emergency or a situation, you kind of already have your game plan, at least an idea set in place. So I would have hesitations about it going out of county. One thing we talked about at FPS was if the county decides to share with Alpena or Presqu'île or whatever, that you're still gonna have an assistant of some sort. And what is that gonna look like? How is that gonna be compensated between the counties, things like that? So again, it's obviously a remarkably important, you know, it's one of those positions that it doesn't mean anything to you to need it. You got 2,000 acres burning or a critical incident, and then it's the most important job in the county. So I guess that's just my 2 cents. Previously, this job was, as you know, $24,000. So there was not a ton of interest. It's now $45,000. You might start seeing some of the in-county expertise come out and say, you know what, that's a palatable, whether contract or whatever that might be. You might have somebody that's retired and has a bunch of experience that says, you know, I'll serve my community. So it's never been advertised at this scale.
And the one thing about Alpena County is that because Kim Elke's staying on, is that she would serve kind of as an assistant to this position and help out. So we would have that backup. Presqu'île doesn't have anybody secondary, so it would just be that one person. So there could be an additional cost if we're sharing with Presqu'île County.
Has this position been posted?
No, we don't have a
discussion.
position yet.
It's just discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. If, you know,
Well, we
If we're-
haven't advertised for somebody for like $45,000. We haven't done that yet.
right, exactly.
I don't know, maybe you got some retired guy that used to do that, just moved here. We don't know.
Yeah, at that rate, if we're talking full-time, then that's a different,
That,
that's
exactly.
a different
I don't
deal
think
than
we're
what we've
talking
been
full.
doing.
Yeah, but
Huh?
in $45,000 with benefit costs would not be covered at $45,000.
Yeah.
If we were to
Oh,
hire
but
somebody,
whatever it is, I mean,
Yeah.
figure the difference and.
Yeah. if we were gonna hire somebody on full-time and pay them a rate that basically what we're looking at around the counties, you're looking at a cost of the county of upwards to $65,000 to $70,000. Plus you have a budgeted expenses that you wouldn't be sharing with anything.
All right, but if you back off the added expenses and use that as a base for, you know, pay.
But you're gonna,
Where-
you're
where
gonna
is
have to,
that?
you're gonna have to take on all those expenses because any communications and
understand.
travel would be on the county completely.
Right.
So you, if you were gonna go at a full-time position here, you're not gonna reduce it to 45, you're looking at more of a 60 to 70 probably
But if you
$1,000.
take that 60, let's say 65 and reduce it by the added expenses, then we would have a figure that would be a base salary for them and you could post that perhaps. I don't know what that number is. So,
And why would we not want, maybe we should see if we can get a meeting with Doug Baum and DeCastro. Maybe they could come and
Mhm.
perhaps the Prescott EM could be here presently and we could hear,
Yeah. Well,
present
yeah,
the-
Prescott's kind of out of it, I think. I
Okay.
don't think they're really much into it. But I think maybe you're right. A little more discussion on it's not gonna hurt.
bring them
No.
here so everybody can hear
Yeah,
that,
I think
so that
so.
we know what a package would look like,
Right.
taking on a full time for us.
Okay.
In the meantime, could we, is there opposition to place it, put it in notice? I mean, and do we have to advertise it as a full-time position? Because it never has been. So could you advertise it for a part-time position, replace apples to apples, and see if you have any takers within the county?
Well, we've
We
been
don't
through
have
that
to look
route.
at a
We've been
full-time
through that
position.
route. It
Never
didn't
has
work well
been.
for us. No longevity.
Yeah, the problem with that is on a part-time basis, we can't get the job done.
Right. And if you're looking at full-time costs, if you're looking at full-time costs, what, like $20 an hour, like $20 an hour straight. It's gonna cost you with benefits and everything upwards of $52,000. That's what your cost is.
Thank you.
So you're,
What is a consensus? We want to get a meeting, have
Have them present their packages.
Castro come in
basically.
and Doug maybe and kind of go over this mesh, kind of mesh it out, maybe have a better idea of what we, something we get, which way to go.
so do you want to do it in a regular board meeting, or would you like to just like assign a couple board members to do it? That way we could do it before the next board meeting, so we can make a decision at the next board meeting.
That probably seems more reasonable.
Yeah.
Right.
I would appreciate
Yeah, we could bring, Doug in and Alpena County, and we could bring in even the EMs from Prescott and whatever, and just kind of see into Castro and have him come and answer questions with a couple board members.
Come up with a committee to listen.
And it probably wouldn't be a bad idea for you because you're technically the acting EM.
Yeah,
Right.
You're the man.
Yeah, I'm-
you the man.
I'll sit on that whenever you.
Who else would like to be involved?
I'll do it.
Donna?
I would like to be, if I could be on that committee, please,
Meeting anyway.
in the meeting, yeah. That's the
You're talking about the meeting to look at,
Yeah,
okay,
for the EM, yeah.
yeah, I don't see why you can't.
Okay.
Any more discussion on that?
Nope, I will, I'll reach out to DeCastro and get some dates and times and set up a time.
Not November 15th.
That's what it's gonna be.
Probably not a good day. Well, for most of us, maybe, who knows?
And also see if Doug's in town too.
Okay. FY budget review.
Okay. Okay, so I emailed you all the fiscal 25 budget, all the requests. We went through departments to get details on any contracts and anything that we might have been missing to add in there. And then I went through all this salary information and added in there. So you have a budget in front of you. And you'll see on the last two columns, one, the 2025 recommended budget. That is what all departments requested. And after conversations and getting details, making adjustments, and then all the salary costs with a potential insurance increase for our health insurance of 12%. We will not have any increase to our dental or vision. That's locked until March 2026. But this does include a potential 12% increase to our priority health. That is what our agents are currently seeing and kind of happening across the board, but that's not set in stone. It could be a little bit less or it could be more. I don't have a definitive answer on that. So we just went with the 12% estimate on that increase. You'll see, if you go through that budget, all the different requests and then the details of what's included in each of those lines. And then another column next to it is the same budget, but with a 2.5% COLA increase to your non-union and elected officials. That would be full-time, part-time, but not seasonal, contractual, or on-call. It would just be, so potentially if we were to give a COLA increase, that's what that cost would be. Just some notes when going through the budget. We currently have lost our SRO for Atlanta. And with that, we were receiving a grant from Atlanta. It paid for 75% of that position. If that position is not maintained at that school, that means that grant could be eliminated. And so that we would lose that almost $70,000 reimbursement we're getting from them for that. Right now, we gave the open position so they can hire, but right now it's just deputies filling in occasionally, morning, afternoon, sometimes lunches. I met with Sue on that. She is concerned that the grant, we can get reimbursed for the pay rate, but because it's not one specific person, they might not approve us to get the fringe benefits reimbursed like we currently did with our other SRO. So the reimbursement we get from the grant would be reduced greatly if they don't just take that grant away completely. If we were to combine with having one SRO with Hillman and Atlanta to share, then you likely would lose one of those grants. So you're looking at a $70,000 reduction on that as well.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay, shoot.
One of the things she didn't mention that she said just in trying to secure that grant and keep it there and just for the kids' sake, because right now she says the kids don't really know who to expect or where they're going to be and there's really no consistency. If we could guarantee more of a permanent presence, she would really appreciate that. But like I said, if the grant doesn't approve us to reimburse those expenses, we're going to lose $70,000 worth of funding for that. We also had 25% from ARPA to cover the rest of that salary, which we could utilize for the Hillman one. But so if we don't have that grant secured with a full-time position at the school, our revenue will be reduced by $70,000.
So,
FYI.
okay, so that said, we need to make a motion to leave that as a position then right now until that is, just in the general fund, as long as the grant remains with the Atlanta Community School.
Well, the school year has already begun and we're filling with part-time, right, Sheriff? When you can.
It just stopped. And so, obviously meeting with Sue, and I already spoke with April and she's designated time payroll sheet identifications for when officers, are able to attend. With the SRO being gone, there is obviously the potential and the loss of the reimbursement, but there's not the expense either. There's not the officer that was there is no longer on payroll. So we're trying to obviously make it work the best we can just to provide a presence at the school. But that's, do we have anybody in the hopper at this moment that we have? Obviously during my report, I can get into personnel, but
okay.
So if that grant goes, I guess that's my point. So if that grant goes, do we have to have something in place that says when the grant goes, the position is gone?
For an open position is what you're saying?
For that SRO position.
Yeah, because it's paying or 75% of it.
So in that, if that reimbursement falls through, that position is gone.
Yeah, because currently in the budget, so, okay, let me go through a couple of other things on, that we talked about in budget, and then we can come back to that. Currently in the budget for the general fund, there is 2 full-time deputy positions budgeted in there at a cost of $155,550. And this would be at a first step pay rate, and it would include a family insurance plan, because most of our plans tend to go right to the family insurance plan. They're usually younger or they usually have a family plan. So just to be on the safe side, we went with the family plan for the budget. So that $155,550 is in the budget currently for 2 open positions in the general fund. So that being said, if you were to lose the $70,000, we would have to find $70,000 or reduce that open position, is what I think Commissioner Hardy, so that's what we talked about in the board, in the committee meeting. Other notes is just the fact that there's still multiple websites in the county. We could be utilizing one hosting instead of having 3 different ones. The courts have one, the sheriff department has one, and then the county has one that everybody could kind of log into. That would cut some costs on things. We did cut costs with fiber in the phone with the changeover. We could try to see if there's any more training opportunities and reimbursement options through MIRMA to help cut on some savings. I did move Bernie's salary to Department 302 instead of 301, but there's still 50% coming out of the millage, since a lot of his time is spent doing the maintenance and mechanic work out at the sheriff department. I said I already talked about planning of the 2.5% increase across the board for all non-union employees. With the union contract, all those employees will get in 5%. That's contracted in already. There's 1 part-time position budgeted for in the probate department at a cost of $25,000. They have actually filled that position just Halloween. So they currently have that. So it is in the budget for next year as well. And then another big thing to talk about is the assistant prosecutor. Half of his salary is being paid out of ARPA for the last 4 years, and at a cost of $21,000. And we had to move his salary into the general fund this year because the ARPA funds at the end of 24 is done. So in the general fund of the prosecuting attorney, you'll see his full salary now instead of just half of it like it was. So that was an increase to that. And then I already talked about the EM, about the $45,000 we put in there to help go with that option. So currently, with all those changes, updates on revenue, we lost our revenue for the landfill, $175,000. We lost our Headley. Still was able to go through everything and create a surplus budget for the general fund without any raises is $116,940.73. And if we were to go with a 2.5% COLA increase, the general fund surplus would be $82,057.81.
Can you give me those figures again, April? The 116 was the
Without raises, 116,940.73.
Okay. And then you said
then
with
with-
raises, it was 82.
057.81.
I think it should be a good time to take 10 minutes.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're gonna reconvene at 10:30.
Yeah.
I'm good, man. I took 5 minutes early,
Even though you're told to take 9.
and I only took 4.
That's right. So you still got 5 coming here.
Oh,
Well, they haven't been real quick to get their equipment.
So you don't always get it.
Yeah, they're sending the equipment
I don't
through
make
the
a
mail.
copy
So that
of the,
each individual
That's
has
okay.
their own.
Probably wouldn't have it for you. You get your thing.
and then keep them for.
Yeah.
Oh, so you have to hook your own.
Yeah.
Is it, what is it, just a?
Fellow there too.
Oh, I think it's-
Very much.
Caught them at, Avalon, Lake Avalon and 451.
So is it just a matter of plugging in your?
I don't know. I haven't received it yet. I just got the email yesterday that it's on its way.
So you don't even know.
I'll gladly give it up if you want to sit there.
I said,
That's too hot.
I'd like to check that one out and hook this up. I'm gonna figure out, I don't know how to do this. He says, you can call the office and ask for a technician. I said, I've been calling the office for a week and all I get is a robot.
Leave your name and number and we'll get back with you.
And nobody's got back.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, and they don't give you an option for, please hook me up to a human being.
No, no, they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
He says, you know, you come in here, on my property, you want to talk to me about this stuff?
You're actually talking outside. You're talking about me and you're not remembering this right.
Was that right?
Yes.
I'm not?
Yo, come on up.
Yeah.
Oh, I was blonde here.
Officially, yes.
Anywhere.
Buddy, stretch
You
them.
put it, oh, I know. I know.
I already did.
I just
Have it
called
online.
Cheryl. Yes, there's now.
Are they not?
Yeah. It's on the website. It's on the website. That's what somebody told me.
That's what I heard.
On the Montmorency road.
Yeah, yeah.
As I look there, that's where the state directs you to go, if you go to the Secretary of State. And then I went there and there wasn't anything there. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was yesterday.
I heard it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, I didn't either because I had already called office.
Oh, PA News had some of it, a bunch of
But it was all
Hillman
Alpena
stuff.
County stuff, really, that I, well, the
Most
one that
of
I
it.
saw.
They had a little bit of Hillman stuff, they had Albert Township. road
Millage, yeah, I did see that too.
And something else, but they didn't have much of anything besides that.
Yeah.
My hands.
What is going on here?
I have no idea what the hell they're talking about anymore. If you get, if you get a deer strike,
She was in her she had short-term memory.
you have a card of.
So, and it's
fulfill
like
that.
very short-term.
Right, one.
So we're going to the bathroom and I help her onto the stall, whatever. And I
So if you
sit
get a
next to
deer
her,
strike
she
and a
said,
water pump
"Hey,
goes,
a bean
you're
is a
screwed.
bean. What's a pea?"
you got bicycles?
Yeah, we're just gonna go,
Oh,
you
really?
know what, if the goal is saving money, we'll just get back. to
30
sports.
seconds later,
We'll
"Hey,
just
a
start riding
bean's a
horses.
bean. What's a pea? I don't know.
It used to
man."
be on the shoe.
I really did. And we did
They
this.
get
all
tired,
the
I
time.
guess.
So 5 minutes it took her to go pee.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I know, I say it to my daughter whenever we're in
I
the
do that to
bathroom. Hey,
two
Braylon,
people time.
don't say it.
That's a terrible situation.
So can either of you tell me what vehicles I'm supposed to retire?
Good for you, you can, will you?
No,
I didn't think it was that loud.
This is right
Be careful what I say.
But it's not.
No, it's here, I'll-
So she would walk the house to exercise.
I do.
I don't know what the big argument is.
And on the way
Sounds
back.
like, being told what to do is more important than doing the right thing.
Such a
That's the most important thing.
Yeah. She asked me one more time.
They pulled a poster on it. The tree is
Wanted to
fine.
get
It's gonna be fine or something.
rid of two more. Right. As opposed to taking the two off the ones that
Yeah.
are not suited for working. And then we're
Yeah,
gonna
you
get
gotta
rid of
just
two
find
more.
out.
You do.
That was my,
You know, I mean.
it was the upshot. It took a
Tell me
while.
what two vehicles is it that I have here?
Who decides, Chad?
99% up until today,
Yeah, that's.
Up until today?
Whatever else
whoever
the
sat in
building
office,
was.
sheriff, that's who decided, up until
Yeah,
today.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. How's Dad doing?
Not bad,
Hey, good.
not bad.
Wrestling.
Went out to,
Like, Nina, handle this.
oh, my wife and Linda took him down to the Amish store. Yeah. No,
Oh, yeah, I gotta take him to bakery.
well, I don't know if they made it to the food. I know they went to the bulk food store.
Well, they had
Just a
to
lot
buy
of
it.
information all at once.
And they went to the general store.
Yeah. Find your.
Don't do that.
Yeah, that was
Sorry.
a big day for him.
Oh, I'm sure he was tired.
Worn out. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was a good outing.
It is, well, that should continue as much as possible. Keep the mind
Yep.
free.
I got all his leads over there. That's all.
Yeah, if you got more, I got more places to put them now.
That's all I could. Yeah, you got quite a bit going on over there.
Yeah, I'm trying to, just about one more day, I got, the kind of like all the cut up brush around the house that I gotta drive by every day. And, the rest of the stuff kind of out and back, well, there's been a lot of rabbit.
Yeah.
Closures.
That's what I do with all my.
Yeah, but I mean, I went through and I don't know, I tried to talk with the conservation out of Alpena to figure out if I can get some tree planting done.
Good luck.
Sure how much
Have a
it's
shade,
gonna
thanks.
cost.
I'll say that all the time.
They want 2 million copies.
Definitely an issue.
10 years.
70
Part of that. So,
2 mills every year for 10
Yeah.
years.
That's the question.
so, but they would exclude your house. In part of the plan.
Right.
And there's only about 15 sheets of paper to read
Well,
through.
it's that and that
And then you
lot.
have to get a licensed forester.
And you got, yeah, it's a tax.
Well, they want to, because it's not a,
Oh.
they're gonna charge you, but they're gonna give you something for it. But it's just that,
Yeah.
I don't know, I have to look at the value of how many acres they want to plant.
Yeah.
Instead of for the amount of dollars they want to take.
Minutes, yeah.
That's different. That's not the program.
Yeah,
So the forester you got, when you get him,
he's out of Alpena, right, for soil conservation.
and that's who he works for. He doesn't
That's
work
who he
for
works
us.
for. No, but he would put the plan together, they want to sell these things all over, and evidently, I mean, they've already, like your house, my house, they could already see what you got.
Yeah.
How many acres are there, not there, the picture. To be able to see what's there, kind of want to get the Norway's the big thing you're pushing, which is, as far as I'm concerned, the best tree to plant.
Yeah.
Up here, at least our area, it's all same.
Is that what you got there?
Mainly sage. and
Mostly
those
Norway.
are- You drive by Norway. And then over on the other side, there's Norway spruce, and then there was some spruce, and then there was some Scotch pine. And all you recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were the ones that turned out ugly. But if they cut them in Christmas trees, then all right.
Oh, they're jack pine, basically.
Yeah.
Different color.
Well, but yeah, but yeah, they got bigger needs. But I really haven't had a big collection of jack pines, which is good. Because every tree that I kind of got to about, they're all flat land. But you got some limbs, right? They're covered. Yeah, they're covered for animals.
Trimmed a bunch of those up for.
I didn't trim them up, that's just where the growth.
Oh, okay.
And then when he actually brought the tree down through there and slapped and tore up a bunch of limbs. And then you see a big pile of top.
That's what.
And that's how they get them all halfway trimmed. Kind of ragged. Here, the outside edge,
Yeah.
you're gonna get limbs for the sun. But,
Okay. Yeah, I seen it. It looked like somebody went down and trimmed down through there. I'm thinking,
you're
why
going-
would they spend
you're
the time
driving
and
too
money
fast.
doing that?
You're driving too fast, so you get something like that. But over, we got some other white pine that they're, only did every third of Norway. Those really stand out with a lot of collection of limbs on it. They don't break. They're pretty rubbery. They don't snap off. But I don't know, I just try to keep the land growing to the best. we can. Get some good trees coming, maybe we'll get a bunch of, hopefully that will support wild bush. But I don't want any of that mountain olive.
Russian olive,
Russian,
autumn olive.
Russian olive, yeah, whatever.
Ben's got them. Oh.
Yeah. No,
She has
he
children.
ought to go in there and just mow them off and then start spraying the stuff.
Well, I caught a whole bunch of them last year trying to get them, but
Yeah.
they're gonna come back.
Well,
So I
yeah,
don't know
if
how
you
you
pull
can
that root out, that's,
Yeah, that'd be,
yeah.
holy moly.
Yeah, that's the only thing, is you get it before the berry comes, and then go in there with a mulcher Job, try to chew it.
Always.
And then the following year, probably go ahead and spray.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it's-
because I know what I did, just got rid of them.
Oh, it folds me right. All right.
Good, how are you?
Good.
I would.
The other guy wants to change, so he'll be able
So this
to.
has office number and email.
Yeah.
Hey, just let me know what we're for you. Thank you very much. This is Michelle Rose.
Michelle, nice to meet you, Michelle.
Paper's not bad.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't, just didn't really, I don't think we.
Wasn't that a 10-minute meeting again?
No, it was a little longer, than that, but we didn't have a lot on it, we discussed some stuff, it wasn't,
You get the email from Connie on that bulldozer
no,
transmission, you know.
oh my God,
You're gonna rent one.
I know.
okay. Yeah, that kind of eats into our.
Yeah, we,
April's back.
I wish I had a couple to rent out.
Okay, this time we're gonna go back into open session. With that, I think April's still on, the portion.
Yep. So, we need to put in the paper for our, budget hearing to review in full, the full board. And it's gotta be posted in the paper for 2 weeks. So if we are good with the bottom lines that we see here, then I can put that into the paper and get it posted for the 2 weeks, and we could do a full approval of the budget at the last November meeting. That would give me my 2
Well, I think
No,
we're-
actually, it won't.
It won't.
It's gonna have to be the beginning, the December meeting, because we wouldn't have it posted in the paper for 2 weeks,
Okay, so the.
because it wouldn't be posted till the
No,
13th.
it'd be December 5th.
So we'd have to be December 5th board meeting to do a budget hearing.
It'll be 3 weeks, basically.
Actually,
To run 3 weeks. Well, it's gonna run the time frame it needs to run anyway.
Right.
Other than the SRO officer, that money there, that's kind of up in the air, so we don't know right now how that's gonna shake out.
Correct.
That's about the only big item
Yep.
that we need to, whatever happens on it happens, so.
Well, do we want to make it, yeah, that and the cost of living, do we need to do that now, or can that wait?
Yeah, so that's what I need to know, like, if you guys want to put a proposed budget out there for a cost of living, then that's the budget I'll propose. If you don't want to do the cost of living, then I'll propose the other budget numbers. You know what I'm saying, like no raises. So if you want to potentially review a budget that has the 2.5% COLA raise, I need a motion to approve that starting January 1st, and then we would put the proposed budget out and for December's meeting to review it completely. Or not review it completely, we'll basically read the numbers and you have a budget hearing where they have time to ask questions about the budget, if the public does. The
Okay,
public.
so if we approve the 2.5% today, we'll add that for next meeting.
It'll be on the December budget hearing. Those numbers will be on the December budget
It'll be
hearing.
what gets published.
It'll be what gets published. Yeah, if
That's
you're telling me.
before or after it's published. I mean, it's 2.5%, if we agree to that, when would you put it in the paper then?
It would go in the paper. I would submit it to the paper today to go in the paper for next week. So it could sit there for at least 2 weeks, have time for public to review it, ask
Oh,
questions,
okay.
get
So,
copies, and
okay,
put it
I
on the
see.
website. And then you guys would finalize the budget and the General Appropriations Act at the December 5th meeting.
I'll make a motion that we accept the budget with the 2.5% COLA increase.
So not accept the budget because you're not accepting anything on the budget. You would just say that you are making a motion to approve a 2.5% COLA increase for all non-union, full-time and part-time employees. Would not include contractual, seasonal or on-call.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion to
Give that to
2.5% increase to the non-union employees budget. Do I hear a second?
Oh, thank you, that would help.
I'll support.
And now we have a support to a no. Is there any discussion on that? I think that was the rate for this year was 2.5% increase.
Potential, because it hasn't been listed yet.
It's Opposed to what's probably gonna come out from the feds.
And this, even though you're making this motion to do that, we're gonna put it on the proposed budget, but if the proposed budget doesn't pass, obviously that could change this. So
Right.
this is not set in stone yet.
Yeah. So it just goes on there and there might be changes, but
Yeah, so I would post the budget for the total revenues of the general fund, expenditures, and then the surplus of the
the motion
82,000.
to be on 2.5%, right? Or not?
Yep, we got it. We just need a roll call.
And even if we pass it in December, it's still up to the next board.
The board can amend it at any time.
Can amend that.
Okay. All right, roll call vote on that, Cheryl, unless there's any other questions. I guess there's none. I guess you call roll call vote.
Gerard,
Yes.
Ardise,
Yes.
Peltier,
Yes,
Bolser,
Yes.
Edwards.
Yes. Motion carried.
So I will put together the budget hearing notification for the paper and get that sent over to Shelley, and they'll put it in the paper. It'll sit there for 2 weeks. And the budget hearing will be the first thing happening on the board meeting on December 5th.
Can we circle back? You said the SRO
Mhm.
thing again, and you made mention of the fringe benefits. If that we could, if we're doing it the way we're doing it now, is my understanding, we could possibly lose the fringe benefits off from that. You know what? that
So
amounts to?
that's because when I talked to Sue, the Michigan State Police would request a roster of all of our deputies that would be going to the school. And then with that, I'd have to give her what their salary is, what their fringe benefit package is. And it would be up to MSP to approve me to basically be able to set up an hourly rate for their fringe benefits to charge to the grant. She's not sure that they'll allow me to do that. So if we are going the route that we are right now, the only thing the grant's gonna reimburse is the hours that the deputies actually go to the school. So, we're looking at reimbursements every reporting cycle of like $20,000 from the grant. We end up with, I want to say about $20,000 from the grant in the school for that 75%, which if we're only paying hours, you're looking at a very small fraction. So we've already reduced that. And like I said, the school board, was just it was put in the paper that we were not gonna refill that position at their school board meeting. And that wasn't the case because you guys had already gave permission to open that position up to hire, and we were gonna utilize deputies to fill in. So that was not a proper statement that we weren't gonna do that. So she kind of just wanted to confirm that we weren't limiting that position. So I guess she just kind of wanted some kind of confirmation that the board is going to say, yes, we're gonna have a full-time SRO at the school. You guys, that's your plan. You would like to have somebody assigned to that in a permanent place so that they can keep their grant intact for fiscal 25. So, but if we were to not have that full-time filled spot at the school, we would lose that grant funding. So it's kind of contingent.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I wasn't sure what percentage of that the fringe benefits amounted to, and if it's that substantial, that answers my question.
Any other questions on that, Bill?
Nope.
Okay. Moving on, I guess.
So, I guess, do you want any kind of a motion put in our minutes so that we can kind of give that to the school board showing that? Where,
Well, that's, I guess that's what I was getting at. So if the grant is removed, then the position is removed. You know, it just, when the funding is gone, the position is gone.
We lose that position.
Right.
Yeah.
But not up until then, as long as they're, you know, if they're able to assign to that.
So I guess I'll make the motion that we'll continue it as long as we can. That's up to the sheriff, whether we put someone in there or not. That's not our call anyway. I mean, we can't fulfill our contract, and we can't fulfill it, but that's not our decision.
I'll support that.
So that's my motion to. You wanna say it?
Yeah, I second it.
No, is there any discussion on that?
No, that sounds right.
Call for vote. All in favor, say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nay, motion carried.
is there any questions on the budget specifically? Anything you want to go through at all?
Yeah, I just got this morning. I looked at it briefly in my email, so I really.
We can talk more and at the next couple meetings. I can put it on the agenda for the November meeting for more discussion. But we'll still have a proposal for December 5th. Does that sound
The
good?
additional stuff we got today, we can put that on for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
But we didn't talk though about that unfunded liability.
Yeah, we,
portion.
we need to talk about, the heavily and like the unfunded liability. But the specific budget lines, we can hold off until it's like next meeting, give people time to go through each department and have questions.
Okay.
But, so one of the things that we talked about earlier in the year and we haven't really we haven't finalized anything. We set up the healthcare savings plan for employees and we never kind of completed that step and submitted it to MERS. We were working on updates and things like that. So when talking about OPEB liability, you know, our current program is looking at an estimated liability of $3.3 million. That's what our OPEB liability is showing for our retirement costs. 3.6 is our OPEB liability for that retirement cost with the current program that we have, and that's for union and non-union employees. And we set up the healthcare savings plan with MERS, but we never actually instituted everything with it because it kind of got put on pause.
Right.
We have money that went into from the DTRF fund, the delinquent tax revolving fund, that went into the retirement health funding vehicle to help pay for these costs. So we kind of just need to finalize like the plan on what we want to do with that healthcare savings plan and that fund, those funds, so that I can get it set up for employees. You know, because it's kind of just sitting in limbo. The discussion we had back a few months ago was, you know, do we continue with the retiree over 55, under 65 health insurance, or do we switch everybody to a healthcare savings plan? Do we back pay service years? Do we put a cutoff date? Those were all the different conversations that we had, and we kind of just need to figure out like what's our plan to utilize those funds and help reduce that unfunded liability.
I personally think the health plan, because we do have a pot of money now we can disperse for years of service, and that's guaranteed. If this board waits going into next year or the next term, those people could take all of it away with nothing in their pockets. They went through that once with the stipend for the retirees. And I think the only reason that stayed was the fact they're already drawing. We're talking about a situation, no one started drawing yet. So I guess the question would be, does the board want to just run it the way it is, and that could be no money or no retiree healthcare, you know, down the road or not? I think we need to do something. And we've talked about you know, so much per year. And I think personally, I think that's the way to go. There's some members, they're going to get something. I think if you wait, that your chance of getting nothing is probably good chance of getting nothing down the road. That's my feeling. I don't know, anyone else have a thought on that?
Yeah, well, we talked about that and, you know, yeah, it kind of depends on where if you're one of those folks that are close to retirement, it works out, it's probably going to work out good. And if you're farther away from retirement, it's probably going to not work out as good.
Well, or not at all for them. you know.
Yeah.
Well, and I know in that discussion, we didn't know about Headley at the time. We now know that we don't have that. You know, we've taken it, we do not have that.
And
money.
we've ate that, we did a real good job between the treasurer and the controller, we
Yeah, we didn't have to lay anybody.
didn't have
off.
to lay anybody off, and everyone's getting a raise, so that's a plus. Some places are laying all their officers off. So we're in good shape that way.
But
Anyway,
we're
we
not
did
flush
talk.
with money, but we're still not flush, so we
Right,
still
right.
haven't addressed that.
I know that, I assume that people's got a few years in, would be happy with something in their healthcare. Those that's gonna retire in the next 4, 5, 6 years, they're probably not, would be my guess, but I don't know. I think if we took a vote of everybody that works for the county now, you'd find out they want some money in their healthcare now. I think that's been given. I've talked to a couple and that's what they said. So where do we want to go with this? We do have a plan, by the way, that,
There's a couple different steps that we would need, correct?
Mhm.
Can we,
I think that's how we want to go. What do you guys think? We can do nothing at all and hope for the best.
Yeah, right.
That
I don't
sounds like
think
a
that's where to
plan.
go.
Definitely not.
well, can we should start probably with that motion to amend the resolution that we made to adopt the MERS Healthcare Savings Program from,
Well, we did that.
well, from the non-union with the higher end date
You had an
to
end
all
date.
current. We had that end date in there to make it all, that then if we split up the money, like you said, it's everybody would benefit from it.
Cheryl?
Well, I think Dell maybe had his scenarios flipped whereby the people that are getting ready to retire, it might not be quite as good for them because they were planning on having the retiree health plus the 65 stipend. And then those that are here, going to be here for maybe a longer time would have that pot get built up over the years and they would have something.
Well, yeah.
But that's my first comment. My second comment is this is not an agenda item for today. I know you are talking about budget, and I think it would be inappropriate to make any sort of motion to change what you currently have today.
Well, we already got that. That's not in the budget, is that, like, that fund we have. That's not in there. So that would nothing to do with the budget.
No, I mean, if we were going to fund it, it would have to be added to the budget.
It'd
It
have to
would
be added
change
to
the bottom
That's
line.
correct, but right now it's not in this current budget.
Correct.
We can pass this today and we can amend it if we go to that program. It's not in the budget right now.
I guess I'm not understanding if you make a motion today, though, that would make it so you would have to amend the budget, correct?
Well, yeah, if we made a motion where it was passed, yeah, you'd have to amend the budget to that point, you put the money in.
Okay. Well, it almost sounded like that's what you were trying to do when you just 5 minutes ago said, here's what our budget's gonna be for next year with these figures. So I guess I'm confused. If you make a motion today, you're gonna have to change those figures.
That's correct.
But we need to have final figures to put in the paper for the meeting on the 5th.
Unless you want to rescind your motion, then when we get done with the day, then maybe we can adjust it then. I don't know.
I don't
The
It'll
only,
be there.
the only motion we did was to put the COLA in there. So we haven't set a final number for the budget to put in there. I have to, that gets just written up and put in the paper, and then that gets discussed at December 5th. So those numbers that go to the paper can be adjusted until it gets posted in the paper, and then that's what'll be talked about at the December 5th meeting.
It'll be like the second bite of the apple, so to speak.
Well, to cover, because the part of the budget that we were, waiting on was, what are we gonna do with the fact that we are, we've lost revenue?
Right.
And
Well, like I
going
said, there's that
forward-
pot of money, do something now that might not be there tomorrow or next day or next year for whatever reasons.
And we already have the vehicle in place.
That's correct.
We already have the money in place.
But to Cheryl's point, is it appropriate for us to do that now? Today, just based on our agenda.
Well, we gotta not approve the budget, but that has to be fairly accurate. It's accurate to the point of the I'm not sure if that's, because it's not in the budget now, we're not gonna take any money, other than there's a pot of money for healthcare. So I don't know how that works, if we approve something today, would that go in there today?
We would have to put a line in for the healthcare savings plan for what we're gonna contribute for all the employees into our budget.
Okay, that would have to be before it's printed.
But it's out of the funds we already have setting.
That's correct.
That's
not-
the
not
point of
general
it. We
fund
don't
money,
want to
that's
lose
correct.
that
That's correct.
money setting and just let it dissipate
correct.
away. Because if we earmarked it for this.
For some people, it's gonna be a great deal. For other people, it's not gonna be so great in their mind, so. Yes, so. Yeah, they would have, this takes effect first of the year, so when anyone want to retire to the old system, they could do that prior to the first of the year, would be my guess.
Can you say that
If
again?
we put a date in.
You would have to set the date, so
Huh?
you would set the date.
We
You
set.
could do it immediately, you could do it down the road, you could do it January
Okay,
1st, you
all right.
know, that would be part of your.
Okay,
But it gives us figures for that line item of what we've.
well, we already know that our present system is not sustainable. We're not
Right.
unsustainable.
Yeah, right now we're sitting at a fund balance of $2.4 million for our general fund, and that liability is upwards $3.6 million. Like if we don't have the funding to cover that estimated liability, you have to start finding a way to bring that OPEB liability down. Not to mention, we also have the pension liability. The unfunded pension.
What's that amount to?
Oh, I don't have that figure in front of me. It's upwards of like $12 million. I mean, it's pretty high.
Well, wow.
I can get it for you. Because right now we're only,
Yeah.
right now we're only
Stand up.
Oh,
60%
all right.
funded.
Thank you.
Right, right.
So if we make so this would take effect whenever, we could pass something today and it could take effect whenever, right? It doesn't have to be today.
No.
I have a question. So it sounds like to me that we're looking for a motion to add a line item, not a motion to change a healthcare plan.
No.
Well,
Because if,
the one, you're talking about your Blue Cross Blue Shield, whatever program we're under now,
right.
that won't
because-
change.
Right, no, it sounds like April is just asking to add a line item for your earmarked money from the DTRF fund. So that's
No, that's not
fine.
what I'm
No.
asking for.
No, that's not what she's
They're asking to
asking.
change our whole retiree health plan and go to a savings plan.
We have a resolution number 8 was done earlier this year, setting up a healthcare savings plan for anybody who was hired after December 31st, 2014. And we have that in place, but we stopped it and never did any more work on it to actually move everybody into that plan and finalize that aspect of it and how much we're going to contribute for back pay or anything like that.
Right.
So it's sitting there. We put the funds into MERS, so that money is sitting there, and we have, with the funds sitting in MERS, we haven't put it into anybody's account. So currently we have the funds sitting in MERS, but it's not associated to any employee at this time.
But they can put money in themselves right now. if they
No,
want.
they can't, because we haven't set anything up with them
Okay.
yet.
You haven't actually moved money over
Okay,
there.
I actually need money.
It's just,
Okay.
it was just earmarked basically is all we ended up.
And in our budget review, we were gonna talk about ways, the whole budget review is, we lost the Headley. We have different liabilities. What are ways we can save money? What options can we do? What changes do we need to make? What kind of cuts, man? We decided, there was no personnel cuts or anything. So what are issues or things would we look at? That's part of this whole conversation, is about our budget and our future budgets.
Because we have the 1-year budget and then we have the projected budget problems
Right.
with that unfunded liability. Hence the
Can you,
problem.
Pat, can you tentatively approve something today and have it take effect the first meeting in 25? Only because I think that you got a new board coming on and they should have an opportunity to think about it. It's a big step. I think it's the right thing to do, because I don't think it's gonna be there down the road, personally. But that's my opinion. So,
Well, I would make the motion to amend that resolution to be for all that we made, that, whatever that number is. 08. To adopt that MERS healthcare savings plan and move it, and the amendment would be to make it from the non-union, where we had that hired after 2014, to all current employees. That would set us up to be able to use that money to put it into every employee, current employees fund, correct?
I agree with Cheryl that this should not be a motion at this
Mr.
time. This
Chairman,
was
are we in
not-
public comment?
no, we're not in public comment right now,
Thank you.
so.
I've made the motion.
I don't know what your motion is because I lost you after your.
I would amend the resolution 2024-08, correct? You said it was 08, to adopt the MERS healthcare savings program from the non-union employees hired after December 31st, 2014, which is what it is now, to all current non-union employees.
Do you have that written down?
Mhm.
Can you share that with me then?
All current non-union full-time employees.
Do you want me to make a copy for you, Mary?
Sure.
Let me make a copy of that to get.
Sure.
You got it.
And that would include the
I
one-time
know.
payment that we were talking about?
Yeah. No, that motion's just to change dates. Right now,
Oh,
that's nothing to do with the motion for the
Thank you.
distributing the money. That was just to change the dates right now.
Right.
So we got a motion, we have a second. You got that down, Cheryl?
Nope.
Okay, tell me when you got it down.
She was gonna go get me a copy of it because she already had it written out, so.
Still a little concerned about the appropriateness of making this that's not on the agenda.
No notice to the employees.
This needs to be pushed out.
It's part of it was part of our budget discussion with the unfunded liability that we have hanging over our heads. You know, we talked about both entities, what is coming up this next year and what's going forward.
Who seconded the motion?
Who seconded?
I'll second that motion.
Whatever it is.
And it would have to say full-time people, wouldn't be part-time.
Which section am I looking at here, Mary?
Where it says healthcare savings program.
Okay.
You
so
want
I
to
have
entertain Donna's comment?
motion to
In a minute.
amend
I'll get to it.
2408 to adopt
Let's get the
MERS
motion down,
healthcare
right?
savings program. Right now I have motion to amend resolution 2024-08 to adopt MERS healthcare savings plan and make it for current non-union employees. That's what I had so far. What do I
And it
need
would
to
be
add to
full-time,
it?
full-time.
Or current full-time? Is there anything else to that, Mary, that I'm missing?
No, that's just, no, that was it.
Okay, so the motion is to amend resolution 2024-08 to adopt MERS healthcare savings plan and make it for current full-time non-union employees.
Yeah.
Do you need
Everybody
an-
ever
do you want an
finish that?
effective date? And does there need to be any effective date? I don't know.
Well, I would make that as of today so that you can get it budget for electric. So if we're gonna move that money, because then we'd have to decide how
Well,
we
we
move
put
that
the
money over.
motion's separate from the money issue. there.
Right, but I mean, for as far as the date, I would put it today's date because that's,
In there, yeah.
that's the part of the budget that we want to have. So public comment can be made.
Donna?
Okay, once again, we're back to the retiree health, where the veteran employees are being thrown under the bus and not getting what we were offered, and I understand this change would be great. All I'm asking right now, her motion is just to change a date.
That's correct.
Okay, why is that necessary today? So effective today, she is changing my retiree health with no notice to me to offer me, hey, Donna, on June 1st, we're gonna change this. You can retire by then and have this great benefit, or you can take this other great.
Well, we can put that in there.
Well, then
We haven't done
do
that.
it. That's what we have asked. Us veteran employees have asked you to do that. Now she just changed the date, so it's not. It just opened it up. So we're not included
But all present employees are included in this.
to the healthcare savings plan.
That's correct.
Not to our current plan.
We haven't changed the current plan yet.
She just made the
Okay,
motion.
listen. The healthcare savings plan, we're just setting it up so that every current non-union and full-time employee has the plan. Now, what they put into it or how much they contribute to it, or you could contribute to it, is open. That can be changed down the road. This is just giving you the option, every person that's current non-union, to have the healthcare savings program through MERS. Now, if you guys don't back fund anything into it, they could still contribute to it. This is allowing that an employee who works here to be able to utilize that program regardless. They can contribute themselves tax-free into that for themselves to take. Or
We get that, but currently we have a program where the 9 of us that are grandfathered in have healthcare at retirement over 65. All I'm saying is that you're giving us no notice. I know we've talked about it for the past 6 months, but I feel like if you're gonna do something like this, why don't you put something out to people and say, hey, let's have a meeting, or hey, we're gonna do this effective blah, blah, blah date. Here's your options. You know, you just changed our entire life.
We haven't changed anything yet.
Today, you have a motion on the floor. What's that
That has
second?
nothing to
it
do
doesn't
with
change
the
any
money.
insurance. It just is giving you a plan to utilize. Every employee, non-union employee, has this program to utilize. The board would still have to decide if they're gonna continue the other insurance, if they're gonna continue the stipends, if they're gonna contribute pay period to every employee, or if they're only gonna give it to employees hired after a certain date, if they're gonna back pay. That all has to be decided in a future date. This is just so I can finalize with MERS. We've had this resolution there. So the healthcare savings program can be opened up for every employee to utilize.
So you're saying it could be in addition.
Yes, the board would have to make a choice on any other changes.
Well, then I feel like the motion needs to be changed, because that's not what the motion that I understood how it
All
reads.
this is a resolution for MERS. It was a specific resolution for MERS that we have to submit to MERS to get these plans opened. We have this DTR money sitting there, but I don't have any
Right.
healthcare savings plan open for any employee to utilize because we haven't finalized that resolution. So if we say we're gonna give it to all current, we already have it for the union. If we give it to the current non-union people, they would all get a house savings program put in, and you guys, anybody could start contributing to that today, is what we're saying.
I understand all that.
It's not changing any insurance unless the board makes motions to make other changes. They would have to specifically make changes to other things. This is just opening that plan for all current non-union full-time employees.
Okay, so can I ask to have the motion read again? 'Cause I'm sorry, maybe.
I have a motion by Hardy, seconded by Peltier, to amend resolution 2024-08 to adopt MERS healthcare savings plan and make it for current full-time non-union employees. Then I asked, should there be a date put in there of any kind? And then I don't know where it kind of went from there.
11/7/2024.
Yeah,
So
she
then-
said today.
Effective immediately.
So then I guess I would
I
ask,
wasn't sure. I thought that
Yeah.
was still a discussion.
okay, thank you for reading
That's part, you
that.
want that added as part of the motion?
Yes. So then, I guess I would ask for that, and I don't know what your intentions are, because some of you aren't gonna be here next year, but if you're doing something this year, with changes to the grandfathered employees, that you notify us and give us notice. I still don't understand all of that, or why this had to come up. I mean, I understand the money portion that had to come up in the budget, but making the change today, I don't know why that was necessary.
I don't even remember what 2024-08 resolution was.
Right, that's the other problem. I don't have
It's
that.
the
See it.
MERS, it's a participation agreement. We have to set up a division for non-union. We have one for union. And we set it up originally for all current non-union employees hired after December 31st, 2014. And so this is just amending it that all current full-time non-union employees can have this. And actually change the effective date because it would start the first day of a month. So it would have to be December, would be
It'd have to
December
be December
1st, that they could start contributing to it if they chose to.
So why did you have to change the date then? Why couldn't you just have left the people that were hired before 2014 alone? Why did you change it?
Probably because with the loss of the Headley revenue. And we don't know when we're getting that back. If we're getting it back, we've had a revenue, it would be just like you and I
By
having
your choice.
$20,000 cut out of our, budget at home. What would you do?
Okay.
We're gonna cut things that are not funded and that we don't need. That's exactly what we would do. And
Okay.
that's what we're gonna have to do. Absolutely.
So if you're amending, are you amending something other than the date? Because you just said reference something about
we-
starting or December.
I don't
date
know
of
why the
some sort.
resolution can't be today. They can start
No,
contributing in
the
December.
resolution would be dated for today, but in the MERS plan, it was says the effective date of the program here adopted shall be the first day of, and you have to pick a month. So it would be December 2025, because obviously we already reached the 1st of December.
But that's separate, that's separate from your resolution. That's your MERS document.
That's the MERS document. That,
We don't
but
need to
that is the resolution. The MERS document was the resolution number 8. We're just amending the wording to say December 2024, the first day of December 2024,
Okay.
for all current full-time non-union employees. So that every person that's currently working non-union has a healthcare savings program now.
So I need to change, not have the effective date of 11/7.
Correct.
It needs to be December.
December 1, 2024.
You didn't need it to be today's date for the process of turning it in.
No, because I can,
Modifying it?
I would send it into them today because I have to wait to get the resolution certified.
Oh,
And once
okay.
it's certified and signed and everything, then it goes to MERS, and then they would process so that you could start, they would set up the program for all of our people as of December 1st, and then they would get all the information so that if they wanted to start contributing to it, they could start at the next pay period.
Right.
Why wouldn't you start it in 2025, January 1, with your new budget? You're gonna pay out all that money in December.
We're not gonna pay out anything. This is strictly for the motion. I mean, that allows you to put money in starting 1st of December,
If
right?
someone
If
wants
I'm,
to.
we're
And
not-
then until you
voluntary.
change it and decide to back pay a bunch of people.
this is.
They can do that at any time.
Anyway.
They could do that at any time.
You can do that anyway.
And this program is a 5-year vesting. So if you've worked here for 5 years, if the county put any money into it for you at any point in time, after you've been here for 5 years, you 100% get that money. But anything you put into it, you keep tax-free to utilize for health costs.
Once it's in there, it can't be taken away.
Correct.
That's correct.
And that's what we're trying to do, is just like set it up a program so that if we do decide to put money aside for anything, it can go into there for people and it can't be touched by the next board because they can't take money out of it for them. But they can choose not to contribute to it, but they can't take anything we ever put into it for them. And we have that
So
money
we-
sitting there in the DTR app that we can put on the agenda next month or next board meeting.
So there's no way we can, well, if we let this ride for the first of the year and that board decides to not do any of that, or do it, they could do that, right? But if we make a motion to do something now, they can't change it.
Correct. They can't take away anything you put into that account. They could end a contribution.
Right.
But they can't take away anything you guys would have put into it. And since you put $734,000 into the retirement funding vehicle and it's sitting there in MERS, but it has not been associated to any employee at this time, they're not guaranteed any of that.
All of it could go away.
Yeah, exactly.
And nobody does this anymore. You tell me some, especially a small sheriff, medium sheriff, or even big, that actually has a program like this. Nobody has it anymore because they can't afford it. So,
You talking about the county or
You
the
meant
sheriff?
county, I think.
huh?
You talking about the county? You said sheriff.
Well, counties, the counties, I didn't mean sheriff, but counties, nobody does it anymore. Carter got rid of this 25 years ago with some type of payout, got rid of it because they knew they couldn't afford it. We've thrown it down the road for 50 years. So I don't know, like I said, they're gonna get something if we do this. We don't, they may or may not get anything. I don't know. I'm assuming the ones that's got a lot of time in here want gamble. And I don't know about the ones that's got 20, 25 years to go, if they're interested in that. That would be a question to them.
Yes, please.
So you have a motion and a second to amendment. We can get the plan set up for everybody, and then on the next agenda, we can have a discussion about what
Okay,
you want to
let's do
contribute to
that.
it, and if you're
We got a
gonna back
motion, we
it.
have a second?
Just need a
Do a roll
need a
call on
roll.
that motion is by itself.
Hardee's,
Yes.
Peltier,
Yes.
Bolser,
Abstain.
Can you abstain?
I don't think you can you, Cheryl? On that.
Yes,
but
you
don't-
can. You
Why
can.
not?
Okay.
Yeah, it's a roll call.
Well, I
You can
just
take-
think unless you had a,
a personal interest in it.
you could do that.
No,
Yeah, if it's not affecting you, then.
You can abstain on the stuff.
that's correct.
Well,
Correct.
That's my
I'm-
understanding of that.
my concern is the appropriateness of doing this. That's not on the agenda. That's
You
my
would vote,
concern.
then you would vote no.
Then I'm voting no.
Okay,
Edwards,
yes,
Gerard,
I guess I'm voting no too.
okay, good,
I know.
okay. So that's on there. But I think we should have a little more discussion on the other. I don't know. Like I said, if you want to do a poll of the employees, see what they think, that might be an
Well,
interesting.
we've already done all that.
Not an employee.
Well, I know it's not an employee thing. You've got several people, a lot of years in,
Right.
that don't like it at all, don't want to talk about it.
Right,
And
and
you've got the ones, yes or
we've-
no,
and
I'm
we've
sure
heard
we
it.
jump at it.
We still have to come up with the
So-
money to pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, there again, it's a, where are you located in the
That's exactly
whole
right.
deal? Some people are gonna be happy and some aren't. And no matter how we do it, some people are gonna be happy and some aren't.
Right. Doesn't matter how you do it.
And I'm,
We've lost,
I'm-
roughly $400,000 worth of income, right now at this point, and that's just this next year.
and I was not against the motion. It's just the appropriateness of doing it today, under our agenda. That was my whole reason for not.
So on the next agenda, we'll put retiree health on the agenda, so you can make the decisions on what you want to contribute. If you're gonna do back pay. And any other changes to the retiree health plan. Okay, correct?
Yeah, we'll put it on there for now.
Put it on the agenda and we can talk about
Talk about it. If we might get it passed, we might not. I don't know.
it. In the meantime,
I can get these accounts
the
set up.
word can go out to the folks that it will affect. And if they have some input, we can get it.
But we don't know what you're projecting. That's the thing. Like, you would need to have a committee meeting or some type of meeting before your board meeting.
Well, we've already
We don't
discussed
know.
it. Well, basically, we've already discussed it. Do we get rid of the stipends? Do we get rid of the that early retirement, which we have not seen big utilization with that at all? And do we take that by the $734,000 and divide it? The question that stalled it the last time was how do we divide it? Do we divide it heavy to those that have been here longer? Do we make it just divided across the board? And I think it came to $1,200 or $1,300 for per service year. So if you're in here for 20 years, then you're going to get times 20 times the, 1,200, and that's how you figure out what's going to be funded into that MERS account. Am I correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
So
So we already know what the discussion is, because we've discussed this, at great length. And those are the two things, of course, the stipends. And that's what we said. We've been on two different courses. You already have a pension plan. Other places, when they started that pension plan, those other things were gone. You don't do a pension plan plus all this caveat of, stipends and early retirement. They don't combine those. That's not the norm. So we know what the issues are. We've
Let's put it on,
discussed it.
let's put it on for 2 weeks. We'll discuss it. I
Yeah.
don't know. Go any place or put it on there. Anything else?
No, I'll put the proposed budget out to the paper for the budget hearing on December 5th. And I'll add the more discussion on the future retiree health for the next agenda meeting. But I can at least, at this point, I will send that resolution in after it gets signed, I'll send it into MERS and then send out documentation to all green employees so that they want to start contributing to that, they can.
Right, anything else? Anything else, April?
Not on that, on the budget, we're good,
Okay,
unless
anything
there's any
else?
other questions for the budget. So then I will just run through my report really quick. That's the next thing you're gonna go to. Just an update, the Veteran Service Fund Grant, they've made some changes to that. They're no longer going to reimburse payroll taxes. I'm not sure why they made that choice, but they did. So I will have to budget all payroll taxes out of the general fund, which is it's fine because we can, what we originally were getting out of the general fund, we have to allocate $11,232 every year to the veterans services basically. So what it'll do is we'll just switch all the payroll taxes to the general fund and then we could take like supplies and other stuff out of the grant. So it's just that I've made those changes in the budget already that you have in front of you. And for the evaluation policy, Mary reviewed all the different policies I gave her. She gave me some updates to work on to make it more associated with our county. And then we're gonna, those are getting all typed up and then she's gonna bring those options to the board to review to make a final decision on.
So Don, that's up to you when you want.
Huh?
So Don, that's up to you when you want to put that on the agenda.
What's that?
Evaluation.
The evaluation.
What's good for you guys? Oh,
Well, you would have to review them, so we can, when I get we have all that stuff together, we'll put them together, you can review them at the next meeting to finalize what policies and procedures you want to use.
There was more than one.
Yeah.
There was more than one
Right.
already.
The board would have to look over and see which one they want to keep. In your packet, you have the concurrent jurisdiction plan. So the court's concurrent jurisdiction plan, it was recently submitted to the Michigan Supreme Court. It's in your packet. The local court management council was informed of this plan and unanimously voted to approve it last month. It does not affect any revenues or expenditures. It simply makes it more efficient for Judge Green, Judge Curtis, and Judge Black to preside over each other's courts whenever necessary. The Michigan Supreme Court Administrative Office has recommended that the plan be sent to both counties Board of Commissioners for informational purposes. There's no action needed, just FYI. So you guys have a copy of all that in your packet. Just some quick things. The fiscal 25 Veterans Treatment Court grant was approved for $55,000. The ORV grant was approved for $44,200. We renewed.
Hold on a minute.
Oh, sorry.
Veterans treatment was how much, Grant?
Here.
Think we're gonna get this more.
I'll give her all the numbers.
Okay, thank you.
We renewed the DocuSign contract. It's in the budget already for $30,105 for the county. They are refunding part of the cost of the pump from that boiler for us, so we got the savings there, and they finished installing the boiler yesterday. It'll get inspected. On November 14th, Rapid Financials, he said he was gonna be meeting with Cheryl and JIS to go over that process, but in the meantime, he's also gonna train with our staff, so we can do some of those prepaid cards in our office too, so that's getting worked on. And then on the next board meeting agenda will be the MIRMA 25 renewal. I'm meeting with Chris Katona prior to the board meeting that day, and then you guys will be able to review it at the meeting, ask questions, and then Chris will be here, and then you guys can approve that. That's it.
Treasurer?
Short and sweet today, just a few FYIs for you. 2025 dog license will be sold beginning in December, so see if the things we start selling them for the following year. I had a reminder on there that county's 25% of the SRO grants do come from ARPA funds, as they have for the last 2 years. That was just due to that comment in the paper. Wanted to clarify that. The 24 tax levy is arriving from the townships. Currently, we're at 1.5 million. We'll have a total of 2.3 million expected. And we're waiting on winter warrants from the townships to complete the bond information to send out. That's it.
What was that, Sherry, that last line?
Winter warrants. I need them from the townships to get a quote on bond.
I have a question. You say we've already collected 1.5 on the tax levies
Yes.
out of the projected 2.3 million?
Correct.
Okay, when would you expect the rest of it to come in?
It'll continue to come in through this tax cycle. The year is December, but the tax cycle actually runs through March. So it'll continue to come in and the money will be
So it could be,
Yeah, you're
Through March.
through March.
oh, just through March. It's
Yeah,
not
and
gonna
then,
be,
and then whoever doesn't pay, because they can't send something to the county that hasn't paid, that's when you do your settlement and you, the treasurer will pay you all your money.
okay,
So you'll be made whole in March.
thank you.
That it?
Yes. that's it.
Sheriff?
We talked about, obviously, you know, we talked about SRO with that officer leaving previously. We talked at FPS, or maybe it was a budget meeting, I don't recall. We still have the individual that is in our hiring process and still being processed through MCOs through the state, and we just hopefully had our final communication with MCOs, so fingers crossed in the near future, we'll get a final determination and if we can move forward.
Do you know what the holdup is?
It's a long conversation.
Okay.
It's MCOs, it's
All
the
right.
state, they don't work, you're talking to 5 different people, there's a multitude of reasons, but
Okay.
it's been a total nightmare. On top of that, as I alluded, we're losing another officer. November 17 will be his last day. So we'll be down another officer, just so you're aware.
And the injured officer, what's
He's
his
back
status?
on officially effective. He's
Oh,
back
good.
into the rotation, so.
Good.
We didn't gain anything, we didn't, you know, we're not, it's like, nothing's changed as far as, receiving applications or interest, so it's still very difficult. They did decrease the amount of funding through the state police grant for sending officers through school, but we don't even have any in the hopper at this point, so if we end up with individuals that are not MCOL certified and have to be sent through that grant process, then I'll advise you and we'll move forward and figure out where we're going with that. Just, again, that's just food for thought. The state ended up cutting that budget, that grant. Vehicles and equipment, this was discussed at the budget meeting. April advised that there was monies within I believe it's the county improvement fund, I think you said, April, for the equipment for the vehicles, so the retired vehicles, the new vehicles, some of those products are starting to get ordered up. Cams, stuff that doesn't transition from one vehicle to the next, so that process is starting. I guess we've discussed a lot of things, and Commissioner Hardy, you brought up multiple times, obviously, the loss of revenue with the Headley. And I've asked about personnel, if there's gonna be any effects to personnel. And at this point, it doesn't sound like there is, but I did get approached that there might be conversation about sharing my clerk, cleaner with the court or with the courthouse. And once again, I would just, for transparency purpose, those conversations should start between, you know, whether it be the controller and myself or the board and myself to say, is this a viable idea? It shouldn't, in my opinion, start with an employee. As the employee is of the sheriff's office, it would only seem appropriate that conversation start with the sheriff or the whatever office that individual is working for. It should start with that department head. And I just ask moving forward that happen. The vehicles, I'm still very perplexed on as far as what happened today with the retirement of vehicles. So I guess I look forward to sitting down one-on-one so that we can get on.
I think that's workable.
I'm perplexed.
I just wanted a starting line.
Okay, and that's, again, conversation goes a long way and I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I want to echo what Commissioner Bolzer said and what Donna said. And Commissioner Peltier, you said, are we in public comment when Donna was speaking? I take great issue to that personally. And I'm going to tell you why, because that woman right there has served this community and the office of sheriff for over 20 years. She is a public servant to a remarkable office through multiple sheriffs and to the citizens of this county. Yes, she is sitting in the galley. You're right. But to not listen to her and to not take what she has dedicated her entire adult life to is, in my opinion, disrespectful. That's why I appreciate you at least giving her an opportunity to speak, because the decisions you're making are affecting her at her retirement. She is gonna be done. God willing, I pray it's not the end of the year because of the decisions we're making, but just, I know we've talked about retiree health for a long time. Again, it wasn't on the agenda. We had none, you have multiple people in here that have been here for decades that have no idea that you guys were even gonna be discussing this. And to say, oh, well, it's been talked about, yeah, you're right, it has been talked about. Then what is wrong with saying within the budget review, we will be discussing and making decisions on the vehicle for retirement. This board always preaches the communication, transparency, all that. I'm on board, but that has to come down to the individuals that are serving the public as well. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, earlier in this meeting, you said that the new vehicle you're getting today,
Yep.
it would take 3 months to get all of the equipment put on them?
Potentially, yeah.
3 months.
Yeah, you're talking 2 vehicles. By the time stuff comes in, whatever you have to take off, making sure that anything that other vehicles that have to be serviced that are required at that point in time. I'm just ballparking it for you. It could be less. It very well could be less. It all depends on work environment, I guess, is what I'll say. You know, I'd rather say 2 to 3 months and have it done in 2 months or 6 weeks. Is that a realistic thing? No, I just assume tell you a little bit longer. Hopefully we're done sooner than tell you it'll take 6 weeks and it takes 8.
But you did discuss with Enterprise what you want on it.
Yeah, but again, there's a multitude. When you order vehicles through Ford, they have certain road ready packages as police utility vehicles, but there's still all the other amps that go in it, from wiring to the additional lights, to the center console, to the radios, camera system. That's all additional, but the police ready package does have some things built in. So, but there's still add-on, they call it upfitting. There's still upfitting that has to occur no matter what you order. You don't get just a police car that has everything in it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're down to standing committees.
Public.
Public, oh, that's right.
No,
Public-
standing committees
Public
first.
first, then we'll do the public comment. We'll start with you, Mary.
Oh, we did 2 budget meetings. We did the initial one, the budget review and the adjustment, and the review of the, the outstanding liabilities of the county. And then we did the budget meeting with the individual departments on 10:30, and that's all I had.
Lloyd?
Yeah, I was on the budget committee with Commissioner Hardee's. She's already covered that. The other one that I had was Thunder Bay Transportation, which went very quickly. We're down 1 person on our board. We do have a forum, but it's close. We've had to adjust our beginning time. Used to start at 2 o'clock. We're down to, had to move it to 2:30 because we're making adjustments for a new person that joined the board, but can't get off work in time to make a 2 o'clock meeting. So we're waiting for MDOT to complete all of the repair permits to the building. Wish we had a report that would say exactly when these permits are going to come in from MDOT, but MDOT's extremely slow. And we're talking with our lawyer on our bylaws. We're still putting those together. So that's all I have.
I had
You want me to help you?
yeah, go ahead, budget hearing. Landfill, budget hearing. Landfill wasn't much. Budget or the budget hearing, finance went quick. And I guess that was about it for me, so.
Finance.
Hmm?
And finance.
And finance, yeah.
I had the same 2 meetings that Don had. I did find out just yesterday that the transmission roll of our bulldozer, so that's gonna set us back quite a bit. We're gonna lease one for a month. But we have to have a bulldozer out there. And other than that, I go along, Don, there wasn't too much happened, and finance, I already gave me a report on that. That was it for me.
Okay, Del?
Okay, I attended Michigan Association of Counties. We just hit the high spots because we went over a lot of stuff. Update on the septic code. They have not got that sorted out yet, and they're talking about doing a slow phase in over 10 years of that program. Whatever the program ends up being. But something's gonna happen, and there are going to be, somehow there's going to be septic inspections throughout the state at some point, and whether that covers every single one of them or those around the more affected areas. The best thing we're hoping for is that it's more a point of sale sort of deal, so that there's some money available to actually do them, because otherwise it's going to be a nightmare. Also, an update from Consumers Energy on their hydro strategy. What they're going to do with all of those dams that we talked about. They put it out there for purchase of the dams. They had 50 inquiries. 28 of them actually were viable to start with. They ended up with 15 bidders, and then ended up with what he would call a handful of actual viable buyers, because they qualify those buyers. They're not going to sell it to somebody that is not capable of maintaining them for the long term. So they're having stakeholders meetings around the different communities. Their options are either to sell them, decommission them, or relicense them. If they decommission them, that's the least favorable of anything for anybody, because the communities around them do not want that to happen. Their other option is to relicense them. And if they do that, it's going to cost their customers, they're guesstimating around $3.20 a month. Sounds like they would like to get out of the business. And then the other highlight there was from Grand Traverse County, who had a cyber incident, cyber attack, and the upshot is it cost them nearly $500,000. They were offline, all of their computers, every computer for them and the city, because they were intertwined, were out for 3 weeks. Nothing on any of the computers was done for 3 weeks. Imagine what that would do for your offices. And they'd already spent $100,000 for their security. This was from an outfit called Black Suit Ransomware, is who hit them. They said they were very businesslike in their manner of going about the whole process, and just wanted a whole bunch of money.
How did they get in? Did they say? Did they know how to get in?
Not for sure. That somebody, yeah, somebody hit a README file. A README TXT file, and somebody opened it, and that's what got them in. They suggest endpoint protection and they suggested Sentinel-1 or CrowdStrike. Put out the word, don't ever open a README file. Let everybody know that that's, they're just trying to get somebody to click. It's called clickbait. And you need to have offsite backup. We're not doing that now. Needs to be done. And they also highly recommended getting cyber insurance through MIRMA.
We have all that.
Yeah. So good. And that was it for them. And then I also attended Works. And we funded all of the things that we needed to get funded for the week. But the most interesting thing to me to come out of that meeting was, and maybe some of us are aware of it, but Saab is opening a plant in Grayling.
Car company, Saab?
It's, yeah, the car company is part of Saab. This is a munitions company. And so they're trying to get that done. They need to get, a bunch of their paperwork squared away on that and get the township to sign off on it, which seems to be more of a problem than it ought to be to them. The other thing they said, look, we're manufacturing munitions, but not the parts that go boom. So
They all go boom.
yeah, well, they're not manufacturing the
Big shells, huh?
well, just the stuff.
Finished product.
Yeah, they're just putting it together. They're not manufacturing TNT or whatever it is. They put in. And so that's my report.
We're down to public comment, public comments, 3 minutes, 3 minutes. So anybody's public comment? Donna?
Oh, you can go first.
Who? I don't.
Did you want to go first, sir?
No,
Oh,
sit
okay.
down, go ahead.
Okay, once again, I just want to bring up the retiree health. I know you're probably tired of hearing it, but I'm kind of tired of being disrespected. So, what I'm gonna ask is what I've asked all along, that you just notify us. I mean, this was kind of a blindside today. Not surprised. And just give us something in writing, like, hey, here's the date that we're gonna do this, or hey, here's how much we're gonna give you in the HRA, or even if you're not gonna offer us what we already have, just let us know. Not putting it on the agenda, making decisions right here in the board meeting that affect a lot of us is disrespectful. So we said in 2 weeks, you're gonna talk about it again, and it would just be nice to have something in front of us to know what we're gonna get, or if there's options. So maybe there are people that want to retire and get the old plan, or maybe we want to stick with what's going to come out. Maybe it'll be great, but we don't know. And that's what upsets me. Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Yes,
Can you state your name?
over, my name is Gary Rooney,
How do you spell your last name?
ROO, anyway,
Thank you.
you're welcome. I live over in Hillman. I've had to call the paramedics 3 different times for my wife or what. And the first time she had chemo, paramedic walks on in my house. He stands there and he folds his arms, never touched my wife, period, to see if her had a temperature or what. And I told him she's had a lot of pain through her whole body because she had chemo. Turned around. He just stands there and he says, you're all right. He says, lay on back. He says, I think you just got the flu. And I said, no. I said, hey, she had chemo. Oh, he said, I don't believe it's chemo. He said, we can help put her in your truck, and you take her to the hospital and save your ambulance bill. I said, no. I said, I called you because the ambulance, no. And so I made him to take her. So she did. It was a reaction from the chemo. The second time I called, they said, they came on over, same, different person. He stands there, folds his arms, leans against the dresser. He says, well, can you set up on the bed? And she's really weak. I sat beside her because I was afraid she might just fall off the bed. And he said, well, I think you got COVID-19. I said, no, she don't, sir. I said, she's got, something wrong. I said, you need to get to the hospital. He turned around and I said, he said, we can put her in your truck for you again, the second time. And so they took her and he got her in the truck, got over by the fire department, parked the truck. I said, wait a minute, that's the hospital. He says, I'm getting off duty.
he said, somebody be here in a little bit and they can take her. I said, wait a minute, I said, that's completely wrong. Well, pretty soon the lady got into it, she took off, got down there on 32, where the big towers are, the ambulance pulled offside the road. The fellow in the back there, he was not licensed to give my wife any medicine or anything, but the lady was driving was. She runs around, she gets in, the guy in the back tells me, my wife, she can't breathe very good. So anyways, one thing led to another and they finally took off. Got her to the hospital. What it was, her infection in her bladder. And that messes up your whole system. And they gave her medicine and stuff, but it was nothing to do what they said that start with. They just lay down and they'll go away. The paramedics, they need to go to school or something. I went to the fire board meeting and they said, oh, well, this is the fire board meeting and we don't have no paramedic meeting. I said, no. I said, well, when do you have a paramedic meeting? They don't have one. And I said, well, is there any paramedic people here? Out of 12 people sitting at this big table, one person raised their hand. This goes to a lady. Matter of fact, I bet she is the one that helped my wife out at the wrong side of the road. And July 13th, we watched a movie together. And she said, well, I'm going to get my jammies on. I said, okay. Is that going to make the coffee? So I made the coffee. Her bedroom a little bit further away in this room. I got in the bedroom, gave her a hug and a kiss. And I said, I'm going to bed on. She said, okay. I watched TV. She walked out. I no more laid down in the bed. She started calling my name. I heard me get out there. She said, honey, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I called 911. The ambulance service was out on another run. So they had the lady at the 911. She said, oh, I got to have people come from Atlanta. There where I live, I come to Freddy's for quite a bit. That's like a good 20 minutes to come out there. Well, when the ambulance came down the road, they never had no siren going or nothing. People out here dying. My wife, she sat there, she suffocated, and I held her hand, but she died. I'm telling you, the paramedics in this county need to do something because they need help. The people out there, I went to the door of our township board, and the guy says, well, he says, we can't make these people go to school. And he said, and they tell me, and they're also telling me that, well, these guys, they're not doctors. Well, if they're not doctors, why don't you get in? Don't stand there and lean against the dresser and be telling them, well, you got the cold, you got the flu or not. It's not right. I lost my wife and counting them. I've been married for 57 years. And they said they ain't got the money for the paramedics. Well, there's grants out there. I don't know who to talk to get a grant, this board here or the township over there, the Hillman. But anybody I talked to over in the Hillman, they just like, and I says, how would you like it? With anybody in here, how would you like it? You sit there and you hold your wife or maybe one of your children or your grandchildren.
Sir, I'm awful sorry for your loss.
It's just.
But they go through a lot of training. My son is a paramedic and my daughter-in-law is a paramedic. My daughter-in-law actually teaches paramedic classes. And she spends a lot of time training. If you had a problem with the ones in Hillman, that's Hillman. They're not in Hillman.
But why would these guys stand there, walk in, they didn't take her temperature, they didn't see her blood pressure, or put the thing on her finger to see if her oxygen okay, nothing. They stand there and tell them, oh yeah, you got the flu or you got COVID-19. Maybe your family is, some of the ones that's good as paramedics. Well, we got a lot of them out there, ain't worth, you know what,
I won't disagree with you there.
you know, and then, but when they left here, I don't know, 911 told the paramedics that my wife could not breathe. To me, it seemed like I should have been able to hear the ambulance coming down the road, because it took them quite a while to get there. To me, if somebody can't breathe or having a heart attack, seems like they have a siren going and they get there as quick as they can.
Well, I know they don't always use their lights and sirens. Depends on the situation.
If you can't breathe, I think it's at the situation, someone's dying. My wife died right there. From the time I gave her a hug and a kiss goodnight, it was only about 15, 20 minutes later, I'm sitting there holding her hand, and her head just fell over. Well, we need some more help to help these people on out. You know, we get grants, get something out there to pay these people more money or something. We got a millage went through. I believe the millage we got, they're going to give it to the board. I don't believe it's going to go to paramedics. I really don't. And another thing is, these fellows here, this officer, you know, the fellow, I would not want to live in this country without the officers that we have, state police, sheriff patrol, or any of them. Can you imagine what we'd be like? We'd be in the third world. I feel like I'm a third world anyways, because with the 911 you call, they come in there and then they want me to take my wife to the hospital, you know, and there's got, you know, she's got infection, different things. She can't hardly walk, can't move. And because I couldn't get her in the car, Babe was going to put her in my truck. Twice they was going to do that. And so the third time I called him, she died.
Well, thank you for that, sir, and we're sorry about your loss. Unfortunately, this board is a county board, and you need to address it with the township board. That's where to talk to it. Nothing we can do for you, and I understand, you know.
I thought the county has something to do with all townships.
Well, they do, but not that way.
Not when it comes to funding or
Not when it comes to
services.
how they fund their fire and ambulance. That's strictly there. They got their own boards. We have nothing to do with that.
So each township EMS has their own administration, and then they have a board from the township that would oversee their stuff. So it would be township level, because we don't touch any of their services or funding.
Well, Hellman's board, the township there, they said we have nothing to do. We just give them the money. And the fire department, they do every what they want.
Well, apparently that is the board for the fire and EMS. I guess that would be.
But they told me that they ain't got nothing for the EMS.
Well, I think I don't know. I'm not gonna speak for Stoneman, so I don't know what to tell you.
This country, I tell you what, it's just like politics, you know. It's just like this fellow here, he said for the $500 for another car that they need and stuff. And you all want to argue about $500 for a car that they're going to get, you know. And if somebody's out there in a car wreck and the officer supposed to drive a car because the frame broke. I mean, them guys, they need all that you can help them.
Yeah, well, I think you misconstrued that whole argument there. I think you took all bits and pieces. That wasn't the intent, nor was that the actual, what we were talking about, but those things were said. Anything else, sir?
No, that's it.
Anybody else? Denny?
Yeah, Denny Davis, and I'm here kind of representing the senior citizens of Atlanta. Thank you, Del, for your report. I just feel as though that the reports are more needed just to reflect for the community. We've been attending the McCoa meetings. Donnie's been there. Donnie's been acting as the chair.
I'm not the chair now.
Last meeting. You've been there the previous.
Yes, yeah. all right.
Year. That's nice. I'm sure you're probably glad to be out of it and relax a little bit. It's just that there are so few people that are willing to step up and volunteer to start with. And then you run into other financial things. We, as a senior, go through a negotiation process with McCoa. McCoa is at this point in time is said and voted on. Donnie was one of the votes.
No, I was not the vote.
Donnie, I can show you the minutes.
So I might have said that, but I'm a non-voting member. Well, the minutes
That's
were-
correct. You're a non-voting
That's
member,
correct.
but I can bring minutes
Well, it might
and
say that.
show where you voted.
Well, it might say that, but I'm a non-voting.
You
member.
might say that. Okay, that was part of it. I want to say, because if you have a representative, to me, there's supposed to be a representative communication process, not a voting, not a chair. But I'm not aware of all the rules and regulations of this board, that board, whatever, but I think they've had organizational problems. Seniors groups have had organizational problems trying to get people to volunteer. But it's to the point where they have had meetings talking about employee relations. And when the minutes come out, there's not a discussion whatsoever of how it's going to relate. And they come back and said, well, we're going to cut approximately, say $2,500 to $3,000 from each budget. Anyway, well, that would reduce it. And anyway, well, through discussion, well, we can live with that. Just through mental. And so, but then it comes back down to the point, well, we're going to no longer service Atlanta. Atlanta's out of the picture now. This is kind of in the realm. We've not gotten the legal paperwork, but it's kind of difficult to be able to figure out who to go to talk to be able to have a one public entity that's supported by taxes and in a private one, and you're kind of fighting yourself. And I don't know how a lot of these things kind of get ironed out, but if things go as they are, representation even on these boards, so they're equally represented. If you maybe had 3 people that work in an office from one community, you have different representation on those boards. It's just, we've had a dog bite. It's been in the meetings, the person's fault, not a mention of someone having a dog bite that's very inclusive and will say McCoa's budgetary, situation they have to work with comp, and I'm sure the health of that person. It's just that if you have someone here that you just have to demand some kind of a report. I mean, Donnie's got a lot on him. I'll help him make excuses because I know it's no fun being on those committees. But it's to act as the chairperson, no minutes, the minutes that don't tell us what we want to hear. We try to go there, get involved, negotiations don't work. And then they mandate what you're going to get as far as this is what we're going to act on. I think that they have restrictive problems, just like you're talking about having reduced amount of monies coming to you. I think you're in that same thing. Now we try to find all this out. And it's just that everybody needs to know that millages work for everybody. Communications work for everybody. And I do appreciate, Del, how you present your meetings that you go to. And I thank you for listening to this gentleman losing his wife. It just, I don't care how much time you give him, you can't give him enough. But anyway, thank you for listening. It's just that McCoa is a part of your community, and hopefully we treat them accordingly. Thank you.
Anybody else? Hearing none, motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Got a motion?
Second.
Second, all in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Motion adjourned.
You're welcome.